Billiken fans, welcome back. It's Zach Miller and Peter Hale. It's the Midtown Madness Podcast. Before we get going, thank you all so much for listening. And if you're watching on YouTube and it's like your first time here, first of all, welcome. I hope there are a bunch of new listeners and watchers after the Billikens just thrashed Dayton. So if you're here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Subscribe on all platforms. Pete, 2 Men in a Garden, man. I love 2 Men in a Garden. I love their salsa. But I got clearance to say this. My girlfriend's kids love 2 Men in a Garden pickles. And my girlfriend was opening a jar of pickles for dinner, and her daughter asked, "Are those 2 Men in a Garden?" Completely unprompted. This isn't a Didn't Happen of the Year award nominee.
Amazing.
This actually happened. Kids love 2 Men in a Garden products. Adults love 2 Men in a Garden products. Everybody that is anybody in St. Louis loves 2 Men in a Garden products. Make sure it's on your grocery list every week. If you forget why you're at the grocery store or you're just an out-of-town fan, head over to their website by using the QR code at the bottom of our screen. Enter code MMP and get all the salsa you want shipped to you for free. They are the St. Louis Salsa and Pickle Company, bringing you everything from mild to screaming hot, hot mango to sugar-free. Plus, they got those pickles I mentioned, from classic dill to smoky barbecue. Visit them online at 2meninthegarden.com to shop your favorite flavors and learn more about their Kitchen Hub STL. Follow them on social media at 2Men Salsa on Instagram and Twitter for the latest updates. Pete, first of all, I got to shout out Drew from Chuck's Hot Chicken, who I met, who listens to the show. Big thank you to him for grabbing me while I was walking around Chaffetz. Incredible to meet him, and maybe some things in the works here. We don't want to count our chickens, but let's get started here. Oh, our Chuck's Hot Chickens. I got you.
I mean,
no, I didn't. I had
didn't-
no idea.
I don't want to count our
idea.
hot chickens before they hatch. All right.
We're off to a hot start.
Go ahead. Keep going. Zach, I think we got to get started with a little tease of the old good and the bad and talk about a little of what are we doing here in the past week, don't we?
Yes, we do. Let me try to recap. The number 21 St. Louis University Billiken basketball team continues to roll with 2 big home wins, including bringing home the first leg of the Arch Baron Cup. You must, of course, win the away leg to fully win the Arch Baron Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Or so it's been explained to me. The Billiken Blizzard, the event was a success. Now, the Billiken blew out. SLU needs to get back to doing the blue shirts for the entire arena. They stopped doing it during the cruise years. They need to get back to that. Build off this success. The Billiken freight train, the Billiken bandwagon is in full motion here, Pete.
That's absolutely right, Zach. But I think we also got to cover a little of the bad this week, or at least acknowledge it, right? With all this success comes attention. We all knew that if Schertz succeeded here, other teams' fans would be clamoring for him to take their job, most of which are not open yet, or none of which are open yet, which makes it all the more funny. But I think, Zach, that you might have wanted to give a bit of a sales pitch of sorts to Josh Schertz and your opinion on his future at SLU, right?
Yeah, and I think we will do that in a little bit. I'll give that later on.
Okay.
We're just teasing right now. The what are we doing here usually has a negative connotation. And I think we need to change it to what is happening here, because, oh my God, we're in full Billiken fever. I'm bordering on speechless.
Billiken fever is absolutely right. My brother is texting me during or after every game now. He's always been a more casual fan.
He's a cash.
And he lives in A10 country. He's out in Richmond, Virginia. He'll go to the games when they're in town. and he's able to, but like he's like more than a casual fan now. Like over the course of the season, it's become appointment viewing for him. My parents, before and after every game, are reaching out to me. They're watching every game. It's not just them though, Zach, because they know how much it means to me, obviously. Like I'm hearing from all kinds of people. It's just you're seeing it everywhere now. And if you wear slew stuff, people are stopping you. Like I live in Cincinnati, which is not all that far from St. Louis. We've got alums here. We've got people with ties to St. Louis. Somebody stopped me in Nordstrom the other day, and because I had slew stuff on it.
You were
It was
fishing
wild.
for it. I
I
love it.
mean,
I fish for it too. You
the
know, we
word
all fish for it.
I just
Pete,
admitted to being the worst dressed person in Nordstrom and
yes.
Kenwood Mall as I'm buying cufflinks and tuxedo
You were
studs.
getting jockey undies.
No,
No,
anyway,
Pete,
yeah.
we
So
gotta get we
it's
gotta get this
everywhere. It's
episode
everywhere.
started. It is everywhere. And we are gonna talk about Arch Baron Cup Part 1, George Washington, and finally we're gonna talk about how this season's gone with Tamar Tamar
Share.
Sher. We did learn that as well. She's the sideline reporter for the FanDuel Sports Broadcast, also works with KMOV. We're going to talk to her after we talk about the Arch Baron Cup. Pete, let's talk about the Arch Baron Cup. ABC, America's rivalry. First of all, I popped into Humphreys before the game, as you know, you have to do. It's a pilgrimage of sorts.
Mhm.
And I went out. The first thing I did, I saw Humphreys owner Sarah Sanders Davis. I stopped and I said, Sarah, I need to know whose idea was Humphreys advertising for the wacky waveable inflatable tube men, and she gave me a smile, and was basically telling me that it was her idea. I've got to tell her. I've got to tell everyone it was an amazing idea. It's perfect. It's dumb. It's silly. It's wonderful. It's everything that is putting wacky waving guys behind a basket at a college basketball game. It's brilliant. I could now I give no, I don't give two shits if they work or not. That's advertising space. I want to see Series 6 sponsored too at the other end. Let's go.
Yeah. That's great.
I love it. So a huge shout out to Humphreys and Sarah. They got absolutely and of course we're going to talk about Josh Schertz pouring drinks behind her bar. She hired a new employee this week.
She did, and he had a very good quote on that, Zach. He told Matt Rocchio, I'm assuming it's rare that you pay for the drinks, you make the drinks, you serve the drinks, and you don't get tipped at all.
That's a great one.
Yeah. Took one for the team
incredible.
there, but no, that's good. It was good advertising for the program.
The Billikens began the week ranked 21st in the AP poll, their highest ranking since 2014. The coaches poll, they are 22nd. They jumped 3 spots in the AP, only 1 in the coaches poll. Pete, where will the Billikens end up this week from where you're sitting?
So I'm thinking it's going to be, and this is just for the AP poll. I think the coaches poll could be about the same, but I'm going to say 20 for the AP poll, number 20, with SLU jumping over current number 20 Louisville, which got stomped by Duke on Monday. I don't think the loss to number 4 Duke in and of itself is a problem. It's just that they lost by 31 or 32 or something like that. It's like a SLU Dayton level beating that they took. So the next several teams up all avoided losing this week. So you've got Florida, Vandy, Virginia, UNC. They all won twice. You got to go all the way up to number 15, Arkansas, before there's another loss. That one was to Kentucky. It might not be enough to drop them 5 or 6 spaces. They could be like right ahead of SLU, that kind of thing, is what I'm thinking. So I'm going to go with 20, Zach. I don't think it's going to be a huge jump.
Let's get, I agree. I agree, Pete. I don't know where we're heading. Like it would just be 60 more seconds of me saying nonsense. It wouldn't be informative. What is informative of the supremacy that is Billiken basketball right now within the A10 is a 102-71 just dismantling of the University of Dayton Flyers. Friday the 30th. Pete, not only was Chaffetz Arena sold out, tickets were going from anywhere from $100 to $1,100. I mean, now this is listed price. Did you think they paid for it? No, but I mean, that's ridiculous on the secondary market.
People were paying. I confirmed cases of people paying several hundred for seats, right? And so, did anyone actually take the bait on those? You know, there were a couple listed that I saw. Both were over $1,100 for like courtside seats at one point. Amazing.
Did I consider it for 3 to 5 minutes? I mean, I wouldn't like it would have to be too like I would assume it would be a SLU fan scooping him up. I don't think Dayton fans were paying above face value to watch their team get stomped. Because I think most Dayton fans thought, unless you were that Joe Maimone guy, you might have paid
insane
thousands of dollars. Yeah, nutball. Alleged nutball. There was a student secondary market.
Yeah, we heard that. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy.
$50 on the secondary market. I mean, I believe there was some of that going on when I was there. Like I don't think that's a new phenomenon.
Yeah.
But like that's the level we're at.
But overall, I do think the secondary market kind of is a new phenomenon for SLU, right? Because we've never really sold out this arena with any consistency. You've always been able to get tickets to this arena, this venue on the primary market pretty much without any resistance. It's only been at capacity a small handful of times. And before that, we played in gigantic arenas, right? Like even in the 90s, when we were one of the top teams nationally in attendance, we were rarely selling out, maybe for like the Mizzou game a couple times, the one time that it was in our gym. Kansas one year we played, and I believe that was sold out. So you had a handful, but generally we were selling in the teens in an NHL arena, right? So there were still a few thousand open seats. A secondary ticket market truly is a kind of a new phenomenon for SLU. So to see that for this game was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at LaSalle now, and just to confirm that this market is still like that, it's not going to go away. Yeah, like for LaSalle, I mean, I'm seeing the highest ticket price is $331 in row J of 111.
Wow.
Which is that wedge there, caddy corner to the band. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy. It's obviously that can change. But I think, looking at Ticketmaster, I think there was 150 tickets. Mm-hmm. Right now, VCU is at $45, cheapest ticket. And that's just what what it's being advertised as, which means you'd probably find one random ticket for $45. But I mean,
But when you look at these games, Zach, so LaSalle is a Saturday afternoon, right? So it's almost sold out. It's the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
It's going to do well. VCU is VCU. We had the Brawl last year. It's a Friday night, and we still have 2.5 weeks before that game. Then you've got Duquesne at home on a Saturday, February 28th, which Divine Nine celebration and True Blue Fan Fest.
Best.
And then you've got only one weeknight left, and it's Loyola Chicago on Wednesday, March 4th for senior night. And by then, people are going to want to come out for seniors. So, like, the last 4 games all set themselves up nicely to be in very high demand, even though they're not all necessarily headline opponents.
I mean, my tickets are going for 105. Not mine.
But in your section.
Tickets in my row, section 108. It doesn't say which seats they actually are, but yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's new territory.
Jordair Jet, Mike McCall were in the house along with a lot of other alums. Kyle Cassidy, Tommy Liddell, Kwame Mitchell was back. He's a guy I don't think has been back in forever.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I haven't seen him around in a long time. Jet obviously has come in for the Dayton game a lot.
Yeah.
McCall we've seen around here and there. Yeah, you said you saw Cassidy and Liddell too. who, they're just not as active on social media or anything, but Jet and McCall really talking up, their attendance for this one was great to see. Jet, as we know, did that, like, was it during halftime or something? With Tamar, was that before the game?
Yeah, that was at halftime.
Halftime. Yeah. So, great to see so many alums out there. It's always awesome when they're there, but like, it just, especially to have Jet, who has a history with Dayton and this head
Well,
coach was great.
the one interaction on Twitter that went unnoticed, I think, by some people is somebody tweeted, the people of St. Louis do not know how to act leading up to this game. You think the Cardinals were in the World Series tonight. I want to ruin them. Jordan replied, shut up.
Yeah, he was great. He really hates
my
Dayton.
God.
Like, he means
yes,
it. Yeah,
I
it's
know. I love that. The attendance was announced at 10,277. What is capacity? I thought it was
So
10,600.
10-6 is what I understand. I'm assuming that that's just gate and that we had a handful of no shows for whatever reason. I'm assuming these are kind of some of the oldsters who just never show up, or whatever else, right? But
I mean, some people said it could have been the suites. I did see some photos where the suites looked untouched.
sure,
Um,
which is nuts to me. I mean, like, I guess they're not all corporate owned at this point. They do, like, you are able, like, if you and I wanted to, like, host a party or something like that.
yeah. Should we do that? No, I think that would be bad for the attendance.
Yeah. I mean, we do
We would
run
just
this.
host all the people, all the regular fans that are loud. That's our audience, and that's who would be up.
That's
Yeah, it would
exactly
be
right. The
horrible.
people who we talk to the most. Yeah. It would be. We already run this at such a surplus, right? Like, this show, we're so far in the black that we might as well do something fun with the extra. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's possible, but I think, Zach, the people who were there more than made up for that very tiny
Yeah.
gap of empty seats there, including the swim scene.
Yeah, the swim team was, of course, outstanding. They need to work on rotation though, going through the water. They didn't really get to reach.
Mm.
The students were outstanding at large too. Multiple points, you had different factions of students chanting, like one above the band and then one right behind the swimmers. It was amazing. But the drama that is the Arch Baron Cup started even before anybody got to the arena. You have a quote from a Dayton player who basically said they weren't necessarily worried about the Billikens, which is wild, coming in losing 3 straight.
Yeah. It makes no sense. I think he was kind of saying, like, we'll get right here, right? Like I think he was a little sloppy in his quote to the media. And the problem is, like, whatever he meant by it, it's going to get used as bulletin board material, and Schertz confirmed as much after the game.
Yeah.
And it was a motivational tool for his team.
And it didn't stop there. It was weird from in the arena, but there was obviously we saw videos after, but a confrontation between the Billikens and the Flyers prior to the national anthem. Essentially, as I understand it, that SLU had lined up for the anthem. Dayton was still in whatever huddle they do, before they go back to their bench from the pregame shoot around. And they took forever. They were intentionally kind of slow rolling this process. And they attempted to walk through a line of Billikens who are ready for the anthem. And, I mean, like, I tweeted it, the Dayton fan is just like, who asked, I was just like, nobody's mad. Like, this is great theater. This is great made for television shit. And it was just, I think SLU wasn't going to get out of the way. There's pride in holding your line metaphorically and physically.
Yeah, I also, no matter what it was, because at first, like, people were like, they ran down there or something like that, and I think that that was
the coaching
overblown.
staff probably went down to
get them, but the bottom line is Dayton knew what they were doing, right? Like they had,
yes,
they know when it's time to clear, and when the other team starts getting out there for the national anthem, you go down to your end, you get out of the way, you go around them, I think it was a pretty grave miscalculation on their part. I mean, there's no way you stand there knowing the outcome, and all these guys have some ego and they think they're going to win the game. But that was just to go into someone else's gym and do that to one of, the best team that they're going to play for the rest of this year. Grave miscalculation. Very stupid.
Yeah, I think on some level, though, I mean, the way Rammer talked about it with Earl is that Earl said that we got this ball game over. Like,
yep. As soon as he saw it.
I think there's some of that that's like they knew they were going to lose, and that's kind of what Rammer means or Earl means. But also, Dayton knew they were going to lose, so that's why they did. They felt as though there was no other option to win this game other than to get SLU on tilt in some form.
Sure. I mean, that's fair. I guess gamesmanship in whatever way you want it, but
it certainly showed. Misfire. They showed their ass.
That's right.
But I mean, that was the only way they were going to win that game. Is if SLU got on tilt. And as we've learned about Robbie, he does not change his kind of mental state. Let's get into the game because we could not have asked for any more out of this entire, maybe 5 minutes. We could have asked, however, the start of this game, the Billikens jump out to an 11-3 lead. They kept building it until the last few minutes of the first half when Dayton went on a 9-2 run. Pete, what were you as giddy as I was in that early start?
Yeah, I didn't like the end of the half. Obviously, we got pretty sloppy offensively, but otherwise, you look at it, 46-29 at halftime, and I think if anybody had told you that, right, like any SLU fan would have taken that, regardless of the circumstances. So, quick start, felt good about that, and just kept it going almost the whole half. But again, Zach, it was a bit sloppy, right, in the course of the half.
Well, yeah. So you have it here. The turnovers were 11-9 at halftime.
That's a lot.
Well, I could have fooled me, dude. Like
really?
I had no idea.
Okay.
But then again,
that's interesting.
I was having fun.
Yeah, you're feeling the vibes in that, and I'm like nervously watching at home on my couch and not like immersed in the experience. So I really felt all of those turnovers. 11-9, like I knew we had turned them over a lot, but that's a huge number. You can't be on pace for 22 turnovers at halftime. We knew Dayton was good at forcing turnovers. 11 is about where you want to be for a game, not a half. But SLU getting 9 out of them also was unusual, and I think mostly mitigated it. But as good as the start to the game was, the start of the second half was actually pretty shaky. Dayton got SLU's lead down to 10 before the first media timeout. But SLU responded, and 4 minutes later, the lead was 20. So I think somebody said like the last 4 minutes of the first half and first 4 of the second half, Dayton was like 23-9. And it's kind of amazing, Zach, when you pull that out of the game, because that means for the rest of the game, SLU was like plus, what is that, 45? So it's pretty amazing what we did outside of that stretch. But luckily we did respond, to the hot start that they had in the second half.
Yeah, that best stretch of the game for Dayton was when they went zone, I thought. Yeah. And the play that funny enough, that busted the zone for the last time really was a bit of a carbon copy of the game winner versus GW. Q drives the lane. They don't necessarily collapse because they're not playing man-to-man and there's not really much help defense.
Right.
However, Robbie moves into the space left when kind of their big collapses and Robbie gets enough space. Bang. Look, this game was amazing. Let's just keep talking.
It was so amazing. The largest lead was 35 points, which is just not the kind of number you think you're going to hit against Dayton, right? It's never been that kind of series. They did it to us a couple of times, but even when they hung 100 on us in Chaffetz that year, 2 years ago, they won by 17, right? It wasn't 30 plus. That's a little
Wait,
different.
really? It sure as shit felt like it.
Yeah, it was 100 to 83.
Oh my
So
God.
a lot of that's, garbage points. I think Ford didn't like to take
Oh,
out
that's
his starters at the
right.
end, but
That's
still,
right.
still. But SLU got turnovers under control. The thing that bothered me so much in the first half, just two in the second half. I never would have guessed our turnover rate would be under 20% after that first half, but it ended up at 18.6, which is a really nice recovery. But Zach, I think even better in this game was SLU's shot making. 625 from the field, 62.5% is a 607 from three, and then 652 from the free throw line. Really weird to be to have your free
It's
throws.
just ridiculous.
Everything is in the sixes. Like Majira says, you take a 180 shooter, and 666 plus on all of those is a 180 shooter. So we'll take
Yes,
it.
it is.
Trey Green and Ishan Sharma were the
Swish
story.
on.
Amazing, both of them. Green was 7 of 10 from outside. Sharma was 6 of 8. And the other thing I really liked here, Zach, SLU's shooting was very consistent across both halves, right? We've seen them have like a cold half and a hot half or vice versa, but it was really consistent here the whole game. They scored 10 more points in the second half than they did in the first, but only because they didn't turn it over. It's not just because they got hotter. So it was really just the free throw shooting that was once again on the low side. It's weird they've been one of the worst in the A10 after being one of the top teams in the country in the non-conference slate. So it might just have to do with who's
The
going to
A10
the line.
defenses have adjusted to the free throw. Their free throw defense has adjusted.
Well, they know who to foul, right? A bunch of guys went 1 of 2, which is, most of them should have gone 2 of 2. Amari McCautry was 1 of 4. Quentin Jones and Paul Otieno were great from the line, though, so they were the ones that kind of saved us there.
Quentin Jones was great, especially in that first half from the line. The way he was able to get to the line and then convert was I thought low key instrumental in the building of that lead early.
Huge, yeah. But it was a really good shooting day overall.
Let's talk about the Splash Brothers version 2.0. The college splash. If we've got college Jokic and then we have the college Splash Brothers.
Hey, if they become that where they get called the college Splash Brothers, I'm all in.
I think that's again. That's if we're just hitting these viral moments, and it seems like one of these days they're going to just go 9 for 9 each of them.
It feels like they could.
Yeah. Green finished with 23 points, matching the career high he set a few nights earlier. He was needled for that on the post game, saying that he was kind of stuck on 23. That's kind of his magic number. 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He led SLU at plus 34 in 27 minutes. Is that good, Peter?
Incredible. Yeah, he was fantastic. He
was a great on the boards too.
I could not believe that he only had 5 rebounds. You said 5 rebounds, 4 assists. I thought it was way more than that. It felt like everything bounced into his hands before he let us in transition the other way. 4 assists also seems a little low to me. He had a couple like highlight reel passes, so you just felt like he was dealing. But I do wonder if some of his teammates got credit for rebounds that like they kind of redirected really quickly to him. And I kind of saw it as like his rebound, but whatever. You're on mute. I don't know why.
It gave me, yes, of course I am. I was so ready to say something. It felt so much like those Majerus teams on the boards because the rebound, like you had Jet, McCall, Mitchell. How often were those guys the ones getting the ball? And the beauty of when that team would selectively run, it was because one of those guards was coming out with the ball because the big guys were so good at boxing out.
Yeah.
I mean, he was guarding Jacob Connor for a big chunk of the game. The knock on him has always been defense, and yet it feels like he's coming along on the defensive end, and it's great to watch. And I think it's I don't know, he's getting a lift on that end from somewhere else. From being a part of this great defensive team, it's fantastic.
It's 2 things. It's the staff putting him in a position to succeed defensively, and it's effort. right? Like it's his effort is there. And those are things that were kind of knocks on him coming out of Xavier, is that he didn't guard, he didn't defend, didn't know how to defend. He's not a perfect defender, but he, like, there's no questioning the effort that he's putting into it. And then them putting in his teammates and his coaches
Mm-hmm.
have him in a position to succeed. So it really was entertaining to see him on Connor, who's like huge next to Trey Green, to see him guarding somebody that much bigger. But Connor had one field goal attempt all night, which is way less than what he's been doing lately. He just completely disappeared in this game. So, you gotta love it when that comes against probably the shortest guy who's guarded him all year.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because a lot of his great defensive plays are on digs on double teams on the big man.
Yeah,
Like how often does he come help down and he's reaching in and getting two hands on the basketball?
that's right.
I just think he picks his spots and he's a pesky son of a bitch. And I love Trey Green. He's great. I love all these guys. These guys are all incredible.
You know what's really funny, Zach? My wife's a Xavier fan, and I was like, "Yeah, he hit his." We were talking, because I was like, because I tweeted out during this game something like,
Yeah.
like I think it was after he hit his 7th 3. I was like, Sean Miller, who gets paid $5 million a year to coach at Texas, could not find a role for Trey Green at Xavier, and that makes no sense to me. And I was telling my wife this, and she's like, "Yeah, yeah, Xavier fans agree with you." But she also reminded me he did hit 23 in a game his freshman year. So I think the way I worded this in the notes was he set a career high. He actually matched his career high twice this week, which is really funny.
Oh man. Ishan Sharma, Swishan Sharma.
Yeah.
All 18 of his points came from the outside. 6 for 6, or not 6 for 6, on 6 threes. Sorry.
6 of 8. Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me if he went 6 for 6 one game. I don't think it would shock anybody. This guy, his cojones are growing with every shot he sees go through the basket.
What I saw 2 games ago when he went off our career high was a guy who was absolutely hot, who was feeling it, who's really come along in his ability to shoot off the move. And what I see now, what this game represented to me was not just that, but like you can see his confidence growing in a way that was just, it's palpable in a way you don't see with every other player as they improve, right? Like it's not just a good shooter taking open shots as they come to him. He had one late in the game where he took like a half step inside the perimeter. Kind of, you remember this display, right? He jabs the Dayton defender and then steps back and just buries it in his face. It was just so swaggy, disrespectful.
You gotta stop. It was disgusting. It was an appalling display of confidence.
Yeah.
It is.
The camera caught too, like on the replay when he turned around after doing that, his face was just like, I knew it. Like don't you dare stand in front of me. It was just so like that. You just knew like this guy has hit another level now. He really has.
It's interesting because I don't know if we've ever had a shooter like Trey Green and Ish. Trey Green to an extent, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like both of them are really guys that can shoot off balance and in any sort of bodily contortion.
That's right. Yeah. Can you imagine Robbie Avila shooting off balance like that? It's just,
yes, I've seen it.
Well, I mean, what
was
like
the one
that?
he shot? What was the?
He said a couple weird ones. A couple weird ones. Yeah.
He went straight dirt
from 3. It's going to look pretty consistent there.
Yes.
But yeah, these guys, they're just really feeling it right now. I hope it continues. We're just gonna, not every game They're
They're
going to
both
shoot.
sophomores, by the way.
They're not going to shoot 70% every game. I know that's nuts to think about. They're not going to shoot 70% every game, but the fact of the matter is they can, and that's what's so exciting about them. And they can with volume too. Not just guys shooting 2 of 3, right? We're talking 6 of 8, 7 of 10,
Oh my
and
God.
just having fun.
Out of
But
control.
one guy, Zach, we can't forget, despite the Splash Brothers, Quentin Jones was fantastic in this game.
He was awesome. 18 points, the second most he scored this season. 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, almost a quad nickel. He led the team in minutes again with 31. Was tied for second in plus minus at plus 24. He was coming off 4 straight single digit performances. Pete, I mean, again, we talk about it, yet we say things like that. We talk about it all the time that there's always going to be a night where one guy is going to, we're going to see a new guy go off or we're going to see new couple guys go off. And like, there's always going to be somebody that's going to have to score the least amount of points.
Yeah.
And we're going to be just as surprised as we are when we see who scores the most points. It's a crapshoot every night, but in the greatest way possible. And I think Jones has just, had a run of maybe not good matchups. Maybe, it's his night to be the complementary piece.
Yeah, and what's really cool here is the staff's confidence in him and how many things that he's doing now that he hasn't done before. They said in his 2 previous schools, he was a scorer, period. He wasn't a playmaker. He wasn't a defender. He just had to go get buckets. And he was scoring in the mid-teens every game in big minutes for bad teams. Now he's leading this team in minutes this season, right? 26.4 minutes, almost a full minute more than the next guy, Avila. And he's not the leading scorer. Everybody's pretty close. He's one of the double-digit guys, one of the 6. But he's the leading minutes guy. And I think the quad nickel or the almost quad nickel shows that like there's so much dynamism to his game now, and they really have a lot of confidence in his ability to do a lot of different things to impact the game, even when he's not scoring. But I gotta say, it's still really exciting to see him score 18 again.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's interesting because people have talked about how the players on this team have sacrificed for the good of the team. But I think what's gone unstated or understated is that, like you mentioned, this team understands how to morph into the supporting role on any given night. So not only do they have the willingness and the selflessness to do it, sometimes that just doesn't work. Like sometimes you just don't have the gift to do that. Like, the goal scorer in hockey isn't the assist man or the fighter, right? Like, it's an offshoot of the too many cooks conversation, right? You can have all the talent in the world on a Power 5 team that has a bunch of guys who want to be selfless teammates, but maybe they don't have what it takes to be the selfless teammate. And I think this team has a lot of those guys. And it's in the same way, again, not to just run back to Majerus, but in the same way those Majerus teams had. McCall, Mitchell, Jet, those guys did everything. Nobody. Yep. Who was the point guard on those teams? You get 2 to 3 different. I think the only one you would absolutely write off the point guard is McCall, but he still brought the ball up quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Like everybody is so interchangeable on this team.
Yeah, and happy to do it too, right? Like Jones, selfless, tough, confident, efficient.
There are people all over the world that are happy to be selfless. Like there are stars that say they want to do it and they go try to do it and they don't have the passing ability. They don't have the vision. They don't have the reaction to whatever it is. These guys all have that, and that's what makes, I think, this special. I think on top of being a selfless group of individuals working towards the ultimate goal.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. and that's coaching, right? I mean, to get guys who didn't all they played a lot of different roles at wherever they were before, and they're having to buy in to the system in addition to the culture here, and it's working. And a guy who I think exemplifies that is Deion Brown. Excellent in this game. Another guy who hasn't put up big offensive numbers lately, but in this one, 13 points on 6 of 9 shooting, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. And as Earl said, he had a tone-setting defensive performance, right? He plays with the turbo button on Zach and had a couple turnovers, but I think overall he was really great in this game.
Yeah, look, Deion's effort and hustle are obviously the most endearing part of his game.
Yeah.
But I also think that like he has a lot of YMCA moves in his game. He is very much like a shorter, more athletic Avila in ways. Like his one-handed catch and scoop in one motion was just beautiful to see.
Awesome.
The left-handed layup where he looks like he's completely unconfident in his left and nearly popped a blood vessel focusing in that moment. Like he just looks so serious, so
Yeah.
rigid. And then there was God, what was the play on the other end? His spin move, like just his
Yes.
crafty spins where he will make a spin move and then go back the other way and or fake that way and then still go the same way. It's just he's crafty, he's undersized, he's unorthodox. He is made for this city.
He really is. He really is. He's a dog. I wish we had him for longer than 1 year because he's such an unorthodox player, like you said. McCautry ended up with 9, 3, and 4. He was good overall. Only 1 turnover. I think he took it strong to the rim a number of times. Not afraid to go right at him.
This was McCautry's game was the impetus for my kind of diatribe on the backing into the supporting role. McCautry's one of those guys who is you're seeing him get better at it as the season goes on. Last year he was kind of a loose cannon. He would get it every once in a while. A little bit of Malik Yarborough to his game. This one, like you see him slowing down and getting better and better every game when he's going to the rim. It's just this team is just so great to watch.
Yeah. And last year there were times it's funny because it was more of like an instincts thing or like a decision-making thing because there were so many times late last year where I was like, take it to the rim. Like you can go to the rim. We were at George Washington and we were in like the 8th row or something. We had really good seats. Maybe not the 8th, but we good seats. And we had in the second half as we made that big comeback that kind of fell short. He had a couple balls at the top of the key and a wide open lane and he just didn't take it. And this season he would have been at the rim in a flash, in those circumstances. So sometimes just the nature of an individual contest means you're a complimentary piece. Sometimes it means you're the guy scoring 21, and McCautry has worn both of those hats this season.
The stupid parallels from this team again. Back to the Majerus team. We've got a point guard from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like that's leading this team. It's crazy. Robbie Avila, man, hit a 3 to start the game, a 3 to start the second half.
The one you talked about earlier. Yep.
Yeah, he was quiet offensively, but again, man, I mean, again, system monster, Pete.
System monster because 7 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers. You look at that and go, okay, that could have been anybody in this lineup. But he was second on the team, plus 24 in 27 minutes. And the other team always has to be ready for Robbie no matter what. So like they're game planning around him, right? You can only game plan around so many guys. And I think other staffs know that he's that guy and he's kind of happy to be that. Who's going to get a little bit more of the attention. And I think that happened in this game where it was like Dayton didn't want to get beat by Robbie Avila. And our other guys were like, okay, you can get beat by our 3-point shooting guards instead.
You're absolutely right. Dayton they made the decision. Billikens are going to have to beat us from 3. We're going to make them shoot from further out. They're incredible at getting to the rim. Might as well try to let them shoot their way out of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought it was, Yeah, good adjustment by Slew.
Kellen Thames. I think when he was needed, he stepped up. But like we talked about, Dayton was firmly and belligerently against anyone getting to the rim for the Billikens. Um,
It's just
you
kind of
know,
what they do. They that's kind of what they want to do defensively, and it's fine. So it just means it's not the best matchup for him. But he just didn't have a very good first half. He was a little quiet in the second. 3 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 16 minutes. I think I look at the final score, right? And what a game to score 102 when your two best players, your two best analytical players, I should say, all season give you a combined 10 points and 6 turnovers, Zach. I mean, like the analytics have said Kellen and Robbie are two of the best players in the A10 this season, based on their statistical contributions to our team. And you would not know it based on this game where we beat our rival and score 102. And that it's just real. It's bad news for the league when that's true.
I mean, that's like, how do we?
We are very like wealthy and spoiled right now,
How do we?
and we just got to enjoy it.
Like, how do you beat this team?
Well, we're going to get to that George Washington game in a little bit, Zach, but we got to wrap this one up first.
Yeah, we do. Otieno gave strong 11 minutes, took 3 fouls in the first half, but played strong in defense. 8 points, 3 rebounds, perfect on the field and to the line, which was huge. Yeah, Dunlap was back, only played 8 minutes, all in the first. I'm guessing he just wasn't back to 100%. They were playing it safe. The Billikens, I mentioned Otieno giving us strong 11 minutes. The Billikens made a lot of shots, but to be honest with you, I don't remember a lot of empty possessions. Like our rebounding was very, very good in that game.
It was really just those turnovers in the first half, right? But yeah, you're right. It was a good rebounding game. It's one of those things where when you outshoot an opponent by that much, right? You get a lot more chances at those defensive rebounds. You're going to win the rebounding battle. But they did a good job of keeping Dayton off the offensive glass, and that's not Dayton's game. They're not sending 3 guys to the boards every time or anything like that, but. At the same time, offensive rebounds have kind of haunted us this season, and that wasn't a factor in this game.
The Billikens played great defense, especially on Javon Bennett, Pete.
Yep.
Obviously, he was the guy we were concerned about, and they held him in check.
It may have been the same thing going the other way, where it was like he's been the guy who's beaten us in the past, and we weren't going to let that happen again. They held him to 9 points on 3 of 12 shooting. But Deshane Montgomery was the guy who did wind up being a little bit better, scoring a pretty efficient 23. Dayton fans have complained about his effort, his body language, things like that, attitude all season, being a little bit inconsistent. And that may have been true on the defensive end, but certainly not on offense.
You never see that, though.
No, no. But another guy who's been a problem for us in the past, or at least last year when he was a freshman, was Letang, right? The 7-foot Frenchman. Tough matchup still, right? Because he is tall, he can step out, he does a number of things well. But he didn't end up being too much of a problem. He finished with 12 and 6. Overall, Dayton shot, they didn't shoot, I should say. They didn't shoot poorly. They were 45.5% from the field, 35% from 3, and really good, actually, 88% from the free throw line. Pretty much in line with their season averages, a little bit better from 3 and the free throw line. But they just couldn't stop Slew. If you showed them that slash line, I think Dayton fans may have taken that because it was a little above their averages from 3 and free throw. But if you can't get stops at all, it just doesn't matter.
It was crazy how fast the Billikens were going too.
Yeah.
Like you remember that early second half struggle that ended with the Robbie 3. Then I think Dayton comes down and scores. We get the ball moving and hit a streaking Dion Brown to the hoop.
Right.
And it's in the bucket.
Yeah.
Like how many times did that happen? Especially right there. And I thought that was a perfect time for the Billikens to, real because I thought they had played really slow against GW, and I thought some of it against Dayton. Thought they were a little slower early in the game against Dayton. But obviously that changed the game, and Dayton started to have to come out of that zone.
Yeah, they absolutely did. It tricked us a couple times, but yeah, they couldn't stick with it the whole game, right? Our points per possession was 1.457, which is outstanding. They never trailed in the game, scored 19 seconds in, and never looked back. But Zach, I think we do need to acknowledge one more player who showed us a little bit of a flash there at the end of the game.
Yeah, Jax Kerr, man, I that was nasty little hook shot there at the end. Pete, I think this guy's gonna be good.
He's going to be really good. You can kind of see him trying out some stuff in the closing minutes when he knows he only has a few possessions to make an impression.
Yeah,
His free throw is what gave us 100 for the game, but he did try a couple things offensively, like spin moves and the hook shot and showing off his jumper a little bit. I think we have something there for sure.
it's like giving a rookie the lap out in hockey when the guy's first NHL game. He gets to skate the lap by
Yeah,
himself. Everything was get it to Kerr and let him try some fun stuff.
sure. Yeah.
Talk about some of these quotes after the game. You're a big quote guy. You enjoy. I never get to listen to the post game, so
Yeah, I've started to make it a habit of sticking around to, when I can, to listen to the post game with Earl and Rammer, and then he'll go in and sit at the podium after that, and or not the podium, but the table for the post game presser with the rest of the media. But I don't listen to that one, but I do Earl and Rammer, and he tends to. There's a lot of overlap there, but he said actually, and this one might have been from the post game presser. We're not a feel good story. We have great players. There's a collective commitment within them. Winning is above everything. They are sacrificing on different levels to make this a team that competes for championships. Then he said, coaches talk about get old, stay old, which, yes, matters. Even more than that for us is accumulated mileage and shared experiences. Having a bunch of older independent guys would not work as well. Our guys here want to grow together. He also talked about what he expected coming into the SLU job, and it came down to sustained success. He saw a niche for SLU and went for it. Quote, there's a difference between making an appearance and having an arrival. And then he brought up Gonzaga as an example. And
don't toy with my emotions, Joshua.
don't read our fan fiction back to us in the post game.
That's how Twilight was born.
Just incredible.
Or sorry, no, that's how 50 Shades of Grey was born.
50 Shades of Grey, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But Zach, he had a little, not just good quotes in the post game, but some viral moments too.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it in our interview coming up with Tamar. The locker room celebration. Someone had to have pushed him to do the belt celebration. Who do you think it was? You think it was Tate?
It maybe it's Tate getting him back, but I gotta say the whole that whole thing.
It weirds me out.
I know it's like a Michael Irvin thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it's something that like I had never really thought about or been that conscious of, and all of a sudden it's like I hear it. It's like the new sports thing for a blowout.
BTA.
Yeah. It's just like it's all every time there's a blowout, it's what you hear.
It's not my favorite thing.
It's pretty funny though. I don't know. That was on Trey Green's Instagram stories. I think that's how it first got out. I don't know if that's one they wanted to get out or not.
Suspension for that.
Yeah. I think he had a little leeway after the game.
Then he headed over to Humphreys with his wife Natalia, with Jordan Neisler trailing behind, capturing the entire moment behind the beer, pouring beers for fans, pouring shots, taking shots, much to the horror of Natalia, apparently. Letting fans rub his head. I'm deeply upset that I didn't get a chance to do that.
Amazing.
Just viral moment after viral moment. Like I said, this is a world of Instagrammable things. And this program right now is highly Instagrammable.
It really is. The vibes are off the charts. It's funny seeing him take a shot of mysterious blue liquid when
Yes.
we know the man is a wine aficionado. So it's
Yes.
just like,
It's different. No, well, that's what Mad Dog 2020, Mogan
oh, I,
David. That's Mogan David, baby.
oh my God. Yeah, I guess that technically is quote unquote wine. But yeah, high culture, low culture. He's winning over fans regardless. But Zach, let's wrap this up with some numbers. 102 is the most points scored in the history of the series. This was the 75th contest between the two teams. 30,
Wow. Where,
yeah,
why did nobody create a logo? What are we doing?
70 the 75th.
What are we doing?
I mean, we're waiting for the 100th.
Yeah.
31
But
points is
we'll be 25-0 for by the 100th.
that's
From
we better
75.
we
We're gonna
better
win 25 straight.
we'll have the series. The series is now 44-31 in their favor, so we got to swing it back the other
Yeah,
way.
we do.
31 points is the most SLU has beaten Dayton by since joining the A10. They've actually beaten them by more than that a few times. Actually, SLU was like 3 of their 10 worst losses in program history. They're just back from like the 90s. It was SLU's 7th 100-point game of the season, tying the all-time A10 record and tied for the most in D1 this season. It's by far a school record.
When I said that we'd have 6 100-point games, I didn't anticipate the 7th being Dayton.
Crazy. Do you think we're going to hit 100 again, Zach?
Yes.
We just need one more for the all-time A10 record.
Who do we have here? Duquesne here?
We've got LaSalle here. That's definitely
LaSalle.
We do have Duquesne here. We've got Loyola here. There's a candidate.
Oh, geez, we could hit 9, 10.
There's some opportunity. 21-1 is the best start in program history, setting the new program record twice this week. Because the 93-94 team went 19-1 before losing twice, including one to Dayton. So we can stop comparing to that team for now. Might have to revisit later, though. The win streak is now at 15. The next mark to hit is a 19-game win streak, which was set back in 2014. 14, the Jordan Jet team, where he kind of put them on his back a bunch of nights to win close games. That's also 18 straight wins at Schertz Arena, which is a record that they keep building on. This is the second time they started 9-0 in A10 play, chasing the start of that 2014 team, which started 12-0 in conference. So to do that, we would need to beat Davidson, LaSalle, and Loyola to tie, and then add a win at Rhode Island to take the record at 13-0. It's very doable, but at Davidson, at Rhode Island, those are trappy kind of games.
I mean, after you take a belt to your rival, you go to Davidson, North Carolina. Oh man.
Yeah, I know. And Robbie's sick. I mean, there's definitely some.
But I think Gaines rightfully pointed out on Twitter, this is like the Patrick Ewing theory.
That's Bill Simmons, Patrick Ewing theory.
Well, step up. I think it's, a team with an X-Man up attitude like these Billikens. I don't see any reason why we can play faster with Jax Kerr.
Yeah, and it wouldn't just be him. It's gonna be the way that our rotation is constructed is that everybody can take on a few more minutes. If we're going to play primarily 8 instead of 9, we've done it a few times now. We'll get to a game where we just did it. So we can do it. It's a tall order, but 9-0 in the first half of the conference is all you can ask for. Let's see if we can do it again here on the back half. But Zach, I think before we get to the rest of the Atlantic 10 season, I think we need to cover this game from Tuesday night in St. Louis. A little bit different game than on Friday night. On the 27th, SLU won 79-76 over George Washington. It was a thriller for everyone in attendance. Just a much, much different kind of game, right?
Pete, this game was nearly traumatic for me.
It was nearly traumatic for a lot of us.
I know. I bring my girlfriends. My girlfriend. I bring her kids, and we're sitting up in the top of the arena, and this game goes the way it goes in the first half, and up until the halftime buzzer, I really was like, "Dear Lord, please don't let this happen to me in this game. You can take the Arch Baron Cup round 1 from me, but do not do not make this game a miserable experience for me.
Wow. Yeah.
And so we ended up being able to move down to 5 seats near where I normally sit, and that was a good time. And of course, but really, this one, to be honest, leveling with you, this was never in doubt.
Never in doubt. No, not at all, right? So Slew had the ball with 17.3 seconds left, tied at 76. Robbie Avila, our one true king, hit a three-pointer with 3 seconds remaining to give Slew the lead. It was off a terrific penetrating kick from Thames, who had made the same play just a minute earlier. They executed the play just as Schertz drew it up. He expected Rafael Castro to hang back for the block, and if he did, kick it out. If he didn't, go score. And then GW inbounded the ball after there were 3 seconds left. They didn't call a timeout. Avila intercepted. He took a dribble or two and just chucked it up in the air.
Did they count that?
Game over.
Did they count that as a shot?
No. He just threw it in the air. It wasn't like anything.
I know.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if
God,
you like.
Dang it! You haven't learned.
I've thought about
in our 4-year partnership. You haven't learned.
I've thought about this a lot. When there's just a second or two on the clock, why don't more people just throw it up in the air, right? Like don't even risk going to the 3-point line or to the free throw line. Just throw it in the air. Like don't because there's nothing the other team can do if the ball is just going through the air as the last seconds are ticking off. Anyway,
okay.
You can't do it with 5 seconds left. You can, but with like 2 seconds left, just throw it up in the air. Anyway, not
Why
important.
not just
Zach.
toss it? Just fire it as hard as you can in a crowd of people. I don't know. I'm just throwing
You don't want to risk time left on the clock.
Look, everybody and their mom went through all the videos of that shot and went and looked for themselves in every one of the videos. I loved, like, I jumped before that ball went through the hoop.
You knew it was in?
I knew it was in.
So what was the crowd pop like when it did go in?
Dude, in the moment, like, I don't remember the crowd noise almost.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm that big of a loudmouth that the crowd, I drown out the crowd in my own ear.
Not you.
In my own head. But no, I don't notice the crowd. Like, watching this game back, that crowd pop, I have to say it was probably the one up there with the Kwame shot. Some of the pops against Butler.
Yeah.
And the whiteout, the blizzard.
Yeah, it had to be up there. It was a crazy moment. You know, it wasn't a completely sold out crowd. We'll get to that in a little bit. But it still was a big moment for a team on the rise, a ranked team. And yeah, not being there, I can't really say for sure, but incredible stuff. But I think we got to reset here, Zach, because you coming into this game, Dunlap was listed as questionable.
I didn't know. We got into the game. We got because I was busy, and so I didn't even notice Dunlap wasn't playing until I think after halftime.
And you're like, oh yeah, wait a minute, where's Dunlap? Yeah. So they announced that before the game. Jaden Schertz was out too. We've got this illness that's just ripping its way through the team. Apparently, it's reached Robbie. And hopefully it doesn't leave him out for too long. God,
it's giving like COVID vibes in some ways.
It's horrible.
They're not like it just continuously like you can visibly see it spread. It's crazy.
I'm so sympathetic too because it's happened in my house. We've had things like this kind of work their way through the house.
You're basically a college athlete.
I mean, people say that when they see me. I don't know, but I have two kids who are in school who bring home all kinds of diseases all the time. You know. And,
Jesus!
And my wife and I are working, and it's just like, yeah, we've just this winter has been a rough one for that kind of stuff. So I'm totally sympathetic to it. I get it. It's just like I hate to see it. I'm always nervous when we see the injury report now because of it. But Zach, this first half was about as bad a performance as we've seen in a half this season. Going down 43-33 and only at halftime and only after a running buzzer beater, another 3 from Quentin Jones, we would have been down 13 otherwise. I thought SLU really struggled with GW's length, their athleticism, their activity, and they led, the Revs did by as much as 15 That's the first time SLU's trailed by double digits this season. They had a 10-0 run, an 11-0 run. SLU had only allowed one 10-0 run
Uh,
this entire season prior to this game. This
yeah.
half was horrible.
No, I mean, you remember the scene in Bad Boys 2 where he's like woosah? Remember your pressure points?
Oh
That
yeah,
was
I
like
do actually.
that was like my girlfriend because she ended up having to sit behind me because we didn't have seats all together. So like up in the top row, she's like touching my shoulder every whistle. Like
Yeah.
every time the other team scores, she's like touching my shoulder, making sure I'm like relaxed.
She's an amazing person. I cannot imagine like dating you and being like
It was a great story.
at a game with you. I would be
I
like, that's your
I
thing. I'm gonna let you do your thing and leave you alone during those.
I don't know if I should tell this one story, but basically, like an employee of one of our kids' schools recognized the game with me.
Oh boy.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. Well,
Oh, that was.
just
But
keep that in
it
mind.
is very. It is. I know. It was very funny.
Anytime you want to say
Yeah.
something too controversial on here, just keep in mind
Yes.
who may be listening.
Yes. Who is listening? Guy. By the way, that was the Dayton game. I didn't talk about so many people. Like just yelled Midtown Madness
Oh, that's
randomly.
great. That's great.
And of course, yeah, like it's like some random students, which we've reached the students now, which is
Hmm.
like I didn't think that was a demographic our old asses could reach.
I mean,
Um, but
I'm
I'm
sure they have
happy.
professors younger than us.
That's true. That's weird. Um, yeah, no, this game was stressful. But like this was the first time I've truly felt alive at a Billiken game. Like
Mm,
there's like the crowd has come to life. Like the game has been great.
yeah.
Um, but like this is the one where I was locked in.
Yeah, they haven't been close at home for the most part. And it didn't help that the officiating was so tight, like to put it mildly, and also pretty inconsistent. We saw Rafael Castro really get the star treatment in our gym and Robbie Avila's gym, but we should have expected it. It's just like kind of how things go. SLU was better in the second half. It came down to the defense. They started doubling Castro no matter where he caught it, and it forced two turnovers early in the half to really set the tone. And Zach, at one point I put it's going to come down to the defense, but it's also going to come down to free throws. And yet SLU managed to win despite
I
only
couldn't
making
believe.
11 of 22. And the weirdest
I
thing was almost every time it was us going 1 of 2 at the
Yeah.
line. It wasn't like some people are hitting all of theirs, some people are hitting none of theirs. It's just everybody hit 1 of 2 when they went to the line, no matter who it was.
I couldn't believe the free throw shooting in this one across the board.
Yeah.
It was horrendous. I've never seen anything like it.
They started out a combined, I think, 0 of 10. I remember at one point because I was mad at how many free throws they had shot, but George Washington started like 0 of 8 from the line, and Slew started 0 of 2. So we were combined 0 of 10 from the free throw line in the first half. You're just like, what is happening in this game? But in the second half, SLU trailed by 6 to 9 points for a while, went on a 15-0 run to take a 7-point lead. You at that point, you're thinking, okay, fine, we righted the ship, we got this. And then they blew it. They they blew it.
And
It was tight the rest of the way. And then, obviously now we know what happened at the end.
it was just, you felt like watching, it was like watching a freight train when GW was in control. And then there was the Billiken freight train.
Hmm.
It was just, the swing in that game was so dramatic.
Very, very dramatic. I think if you're going to look at the personnel here, it was 3 guys who won this game for us. Green, again, his first career high. Well, his first career high matching
Mm.
23 point performance of the week. Shot 6 of 10 from outside, not 7 of 10. He was saving that. He played the second half on 3 fouls, managed to draw a charge even without picking up a fourth. Six three-pointers tied a career high, which he broke in the Dayton game with 7. But I thought he was big in this game, Zach. He just made those big shots when we needed them. Didn't let their lead get too big. He kept us in it when they were leading. He played 31 minutes, went +7. Just a really good performance from him.
And the guy that Sean Miller said was a defensive liability takes a charge again, a charge that absolutely changed the trajectory of this game.
It was huge. It was huge, and he did it with 3 fouls, and he did it relatively early in the second half. It was before that big run we went on, arguably led to it. So really, really strong performance from him. Kellen Thames, I think, is another one we got to call out. Season high, 24 minutes.
Another game where he does something I've never seen before.
What was that in this game?
Gets his own rebound off a free throw.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And he did another thing that I'd never seen before too later in the game, but I can't remember what that was. But I think it was a 2-for-1 game for Kellen.
Yeah, he was excellent even without having like one of those signature highlight reel dunks, because he does those little things like you mentioned you've never seen before. He had the 2 assists to Robbie at the end, right, to seal the game, and that to me is really like, here's a guy who loves to go to the rim, show off his athleticism, get the crowd into it, bring that energy, and he was 7 of 9 from the field, right? So he has every right to do that when he's such a finisher. 15 points, 6 rebounds, came up with a steal. But it was those assists to Robbie that iced the game. I guess we got to go ahead and overlook his 1 of 5 shooting from the line, which included missed front ends, a couple of those. But getting his own rebound, I guess, compensates for one of those as well.
But the other time was the attempted reverse putback dunk.
Yes, yeah, after the whistle.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Who tries that?
It was absurd. There's one of my
close.
One of my favorite like basketball YouTube highlight videos I've ever seen is Allen Iverson's top 10 makes after the whistle had been blown, right? So like the whistle is called, it's not a shooting foul, and he just chucks up something weird. And there were 10 of them that went in, and they're all really, really fun. It had that same kind of energy to me as like Iverson was such a unique, odd looking player, like the way he played the game. Even if you could only see silhouettes, you would know at all times which one he was. And Kellen Thames has that level of dynamism, I think, to his game. And to see that after a whistle is blown is just, it's so entertaining. He's going to rip off something like that in a game, and
yes,
people are going to lose
Chaffetz is gonna lose it.
It's gonna happen.
I love the like his personality shows. He's got different hair every game.
Yeah.
He's like the wholesome Dennis Rodman.
I like that. But also the other aspect of his personality that shows that I really like is when he gets fouled, he always has like he has a big facial reaction to every like, oh, you got in my way, like he's a little bit frustrated or he's a little bit vindicated or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He really emotes.
He's got one of those expressive faces, a face that tells a story.
He does. And the other thing that I love is when he's in interviews, he wears his glasses and he's always smiling. And he's just this like really happy-go-lucky, really positive guy in interviews. But man, does he have a full range of emotions on his face during the game.
Have you gone back and listened to our interview?
No, I have not.
He's one of the last guys I think that we interviewed.
We did. Okay.
Yeah. I think we should. We need to revisit that.
We need to revisit. Yeah, it's got to be an interesting one at this point.
You're gonna have to revisit it now that I'm thinking about it because I can't bear to do it.
Matt Rocky,
can you cut it up? Can you cut it up for me so I only just listen to Kellen?
I don't know how much time you think I have in my day, but I assure you I don't know. I doubt it. Rockio said Schertz played Thames almost to the second, as long as physically possible. Knew the secondary group wasn't going to get this one done. Has him in there, and Thames's gravity opened up that whole shot for Robbie. Caputo and Schertz was a battle. Last punch won. I thought that was pretty well said. And Thames, after the game, said he feels like, because everybody was a little bit nervous about pushing him to 24 minutes, which was a season high. As we said, he's normally around 17 minutes a game, give or take. But he said he thinks he can go a little bit longer if he has to. So, trust the trainers, trust yourself. Like you were saying after the game, Thames knows his body better than anyone else. He's got to
Yeah.
trust it. It sounds like if we need to kind of push him a little farther someday, he might be able to do it. So
You
positive.
thinking like a Final Four, 1 minute to go.
Who knows? Who knows? It could still be another conference game. It could be an A10 tournament game, but there could be a situation where you need high 20s out of him or something like that. Similar situation. Maybe we run into George Washington in Pittsburgh. Who knows? But the other guy, who I think was the third leg of the stool that
Mr.
got this one done.
Mr. Pajama Pants himself.
I will never forgive you for that. He had Robbie Avila, again, our king, had a yet another triple nickel, and he piled the stats on top of this one. A season high 22 points, 7 of 13 from the field, 4 of 8 from three, 4 of 5 from the line. Thank you, someone, for actually scoring from the free throw line. 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Yes, 5 turnovers, which is not the kind of number you would see this season. It's
It,
more like
it
what he would do
was
last season. He's not turning it all over this season at all, by the way. But he came up big in crunch time, Zach. Shooters shoot, winners win. Our guy Robbie is a winner and a shooter.
Yeah, this is what he does, according to out of his own mouth. The line of the game, the line after the game was, "This is what I do. Let's go home."
Mm,
Um,
winner.
light green, he also played 31 minutes, went +8. This was a really a tough performance, a frustrating performance to watch, especially that first half.
It really was. I think the rest of the team, when you look at what they did, was pretty shaky. Everybody collectively was pretty shaky in this game, but the other guys, it really shows up on the stats sheet, right?
Yeah.
Um, Jones was 2 of 12 from the field, 1 of 5 from three. The one, thanks to that crazy runner at the end of the first half. 3 of 6 from the free throw line, really uncharacteristic from him. He was over 80% coming into the game, even after guys have kind of fallen off in the A10 season. But he did play 35 minutes, which I believe is a new season high for anyone this season. And he had 4 rebounds, 4 assists. I was, after this game, Zach, I was a little worried about his production. Thought maybe it was a confidence issue, just not scoring. But his defense and lack of foul trouble kept him in this game. And we saw him respond with that huge 18-point performance against Dayton, almost quad nickel. So, my concerns, I guess, were a little unfounded, luckily.
McCautry, 3 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Again, he fouled out faster than I've ever seen a player foul out. Who was the guy? Wasn't there an issue with the Billikens? Wasn't there a player on the Billikens who went in and fouled out in like 5 minutes under Ford?
Who would that have been?
Like
Okay, good. That's going to come to me like at a
that's
random
that
time.
that happened though, right? I'm
It
not
did,
imagine
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. It definitely
Um,
did.
was it like Cartier or something?
No, it was
No,
after him. It was after him. I'll think of it, but yeah, I thought the call he fouled out on was really soft. I thought it
I
was
thought there was a lot of just really bad whistles in this game. I thought the officials were horrible.
there were sometimes I'm like, all right, am I being a whiner? But then some of the people I kind of respect, more than my own opinion. I'll see what they say, and it seems like there was kind of a consensus forming here that not a banner night for the Stripes in St. Louis.
The answer is always yes and yes. You are a whiner, and yes, the refs really do suck.
That's right.
Um, let's see. Brown, 2 and 2, 3 turnovers, 4 fouls. Played great defense though. He took a couple of bad whistles because that's the theme of the night.
Yeah.
Finished with a team worst, -13. Clean it up.
I'll chalk that up to
He's
kind of just a not great matchup for him
well,
and a bad luck game.
he's becoming my second favorite Dion, Pete.
After
Behind run around Sue Dion.
Okay.
So
I thought
he
I
needs
thought
to
maybe
fix it.
Dion Wiley still had a special place in your heart.
Dion Wiley, the one hit wonder,
Hmm.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Great shout, by the way. Sharma only scores four after going 29 in the previous game. 0-3 from outside. I kind of thought like I was curious I was curious what his first shot. He was the one like going into this game. I was like, okay, first time Sharma gets an attempt. What's gonna happen?
Mhm. Yeah, it's you wonder if is he going to be that kind of player where his first shot is the one that sets the tone for the whole game. I don't think so. I mean, I've seen other games of his where he like kind of comes alive in the second half sort of thing, but he was 0 of 3 from outside, and I thought he got burned a lot defensively too, Zach, one on one. I don't think he this was his best game necessarily, but he did
Yeah,
end up leading the team at plus 13 and plus minus, which surprised me.
I think to the point of will the first shot determine whether they're going to be hot? No, but I do think it will determine, who is going to probably take a lot of the shots. I think if you
Sure.
make the first one, you're gonna get a shot quicker than anybody else coming back to you if you're open.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, people know who's hot, who's making those. Otieno only scored two, but had 5 rebounds, and I think he was crucial to defending Castro in the second half. Little discombobulated on the offensive end though, and never seemed ready to receive a pass. There were a couple turnovers that resulted from him just not having his hands where they needed to be to get a quick pass, and maybe guys like Brown were trying to hit him too hard, too fast with things. That he wasn't looking for, but still, they were just a little out of sync on this one.
Let's talk about Otieno. I think
Just not
oh
Otieno, Dunlap.
Dunlap. Sorry, we needed him.
Yeah,
We need
it's
just
one.
like we needed me to pay attention there.
It's like a it's an easy thing to like look at this game like a subpar performance from us and go, oh wait, like we had a guy out. That's why we didn't play as well
Yeah,
as we should have, right? But it really did feel like he was kind of the missing piece in this game, Zach. He's such
just
an
somebody.
energy guy.
Is it just that like we just needed something different? We were like, please just give us anything, any other look. We need somebody to step up.
And how many times this season has he been that guy who comes in and he gives you this weirdo energy that's totally different than anything else we've seen? He hits threes, he grabs rebounds, he takes charges. I just think it's the kind of player that we needed to plug into this game when you've only got two guys hitting anything from outside and one in the first half. I just thought he was that energy that the game was lacking for a while.
Yeah, I agree. It's he's just kind of that. He's an X factor in a lot of ways. He feels like he's the youngest guy on this team.
It
Like
does
he
kind of feel like
feels
that.
like the kid brother
Mhm.
that you need to. He's like when Brett and Owen used to team up, and then
Yeah,
Owen would get to be the hero every once in a while.
yeah, that's right.
Um, let's see the Billikens slash line. Not
Yeah,
good.
no, it was okay. So 440, 387, 500. So you're
Hi-
low.
You win a game shooting 500. That slash line is like you don't win that game if you
Yeah,
don't have an elite defense.
50% from the free throw line is unacceptable for anybody. But 440 from the field is low for us. We're over 500 from the field this season. 387 from three is fine. That's average. That most teams would take that. Almost 39% shooting over 50% from three in the second half really helped a lot, but it was just too many missed layups and free throws. Castro really got to them. It's incredible to me, Zach, that he averages under 2 blocks a game. He averages 1.5 blocks a game. But I thought he was like his presence was just so disruptive in this game. The way he's able to disrupt shots, it just I
He
couldn't
got
believe it
he
when I
he
when
got
I
him he got to make a whistle in this one.
he did. He had four. He ended up having 4 blocks. But I don't know how many shots of ours he disrupted. And yeah, good Lord, did he get a favorable whistle here. Luckily, though, he only went 2 of 5 from the free throw line.
Dude, he was like, they were, for as bad as we were from the free throw line, they were awful. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Like I said,
They did. It was really just the beginning where they were so bad, right? So we held George Washington to 415 shooting for the game, 267 from three, and 667 from the free throw line. So aside from the free throw line, the wheels really fell off in the second half when they
yeah,
shot 32.4% from the field, 15.7% from three. And they kind of righted the ship on the free throw line, but they were so bad in the beginning that just kind of stuck with them. It's crazy though in this game how many stats were even or close to it. 14 turnovers each. That's an 18.7 turnover rate for SLU. A little above where we want it to be, but not terrible. Rebounds 42 apiece. Offense and defense were basically even, like kind of within one. Fast break points were 13 to 13. SLU lost bench points by just 5, but there's Brady Dunlap's absence in effect. And then SLU lost points in the paint by 4, but won second chance points by 4. But Zach, I was kind of impressed by Chris Caputo in this game, or Caputo, as I guess we technically say it. He had a game plan in place to beat SLU. They executed it in the first half. It got away a bit in the second half, and then late game execution was a problem. Yet again, we've seen that come up for GW a lot in conference play, actually. But they were in it until the last possession on the road against a ranked team. They were good. They were good. I think if he could figure out those late game situations, I think they're a dangerous team.
yeah, we have so much more to go here, man. Caputo was great. I liked his team. I liked it when we're playing a team and I hate your team. I that's like a respect, you
Yeah.
know, because I'm not emotionally intelligent enough.
Yeah.
So that's how I deal
Yeah.
out respect.
I like it.
Um,
But
it,
Castro, I think is the guy. He's the centerpiece of that team, and he was great in this game. And the way I put it, Zach, is if he's conference player of the year, I won't be upset. I get it. He really is that much of a difference maker. Obviously, I'm biased toward our team and the players on it, but I get it, right?
yeah. Trey Autry, Christian Jones, Tyrone Marshall, Garrett Johnson, they were all good too. This GW's team's talented. They have some inexplicable losses. I don't want to, neither of us, I don't think, want to see GW come the A10
No.
tournament in Pittsburgh. The Billikens trailed for over 33 minutes and led for only 4.5 minutes in this one. Traffic and parking getting into the game. I don't know. I heard it was not great. Dayton was not that great getting out. It's what it is. What it is.
Yeah.
Um, Crowd size was 7,481. It seemed like it was bigger than that. That was shocking to me.
It looks bigger on
Um,
TV.
Pete, talk about the emotionally traumatic experience that you endured
Yeah,
at the end of this game.
it's really unfortunate that we can't cover this game without acknowledging that the ESPN Plus feed, which is how most of us out of town were watching it, cut out at the 2 hour mark. About 2 minutes left of the game, and it went to UIC Indiana State.
Which is kind of ironic.
It brought up a box like as the game was like winding down, a box popped up and it said to be redirecting to UIC Indiana State. And so I hit like back or whatever it is to like get rid of the dialogue box. Like, no thanks, don't want that. Like, because like I hate how so many I guess all streamers kind of like send you into something else
Auto,
when
yeah, yeah.
I hate it. Hate
I
that
don't like the
feature.
ESPN does it now.
Yeah, and it's like even if you're not watching like episodic television, they're pushing you into something else that you
Yep.
didn't ask for. I hate it. Anyway, so this started to do that. I got out of it, and I assumed I would just stay in my game, but then it went black. It went out, and I guess it was about to, I backed out of it before it could, but I guess it was going to take me over to that Indiana State game. But then I couldn't access the stream again. So Roku, the link on the official SLU site, my ESPN phone app, no matter where I went, it either didn't have like the little play arrow in the box, or the box was blank, or like I was getting an error message. So it seemed like this was happening everywhere. I thought it might be regional because Liam, the George Washington guy we talked to in Philadelphia, still had it. and a couple other people seem to still have it going. But we heard from people in Florida, Colorado, Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, other states who all lost the feed. Liam said he had ESPN Unlimited, so I thought that might be it after kind of floating the regional blackout sort of theory. But another guy told me his unlimited feed also cut out. It seemed like the people who were watching through Disney or Hulu were the ones who had it still going. But anyone watching through directly through an ESPN platform had it cut out. So ESPN actually issued an apology for the technical error,
which is wild that we like that SLU was involved in something that ended up being that needed a formal apology from.
That's right. Yeah.
At the major arm of a Disney company.
Yeah, that's right. And shout out to probably BK and anybody else at SLU who made that happen. So yeah, we do appreciate SLU raising a little hell over that. We also heard if you call up and complain, they gave a 1 month refund to one or two people who told us about it. So not sure how long that'll be valid if you haven't done it already. But anyway, it's out there. So Zach, a little bit of a traumatic experience at the end of the game, but shout out to Liam from GW for just recording it, putting it on Twitter live off of his phone.
We pick good guests. We only have good guests.
That's right. We do.
I think we need to talk about Josh Schertz.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to do that now, Zach.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Fireside chat with your boy, Zach Miller. Look, the thing that I think these fans of other universities are naive to, uneducated about, don't necessarily understand is that SLU has that we are not a poverty program. There are people that with deep pockets that very much enjoy when the Billiken basketball team is winning. And they are watching this and they are enjoying the hell out of it. And if they are as intoxicated as I am by this, they are going to open their pockets as wide as they possibly can to keep Josh Schertz here. So I don't think that money is an issue outside of maybe 10 programs in the nation. And even then, I mean, look, like there's a lot to be said. Conference affiliation is as fluid as ever. Who's to say 2 years from now we're not in the Big East? Like, as much as, there are people out there that say that door's closed, like in business, you never say never. If there's money to be made, if there's interest, it'll happen one way or another. And if the Billikens continue to put themselves in a position under Josh Schertz, and Josh Schertz is here for the long haul and continues to put out great teams, he does not have to move to Providence or wherever to go to the Big East. Like, the revenue share has made it so everyone can step up and compete right away. I could give you soccer examples. I could give you football examples. You're looking at Indiana. We're going to talk to Tamar Sher. I believe SLU read major donors to SLU, understand how much fun this is. They are seeing the possibilities with their own eyes. It is naive to think that Billiken donors do not have the kind of funds to step up and attract Josh Schertz to stay long-term. They are not that's not the amount of money they're currently putting in. What you hear is the amount they currently have. That is when you got a taste of the heroin that is Billiken basketball going 22-1 to start the season. That's when you got a little just a little taste.
I think
what you thought it could be.
I agree with everything you just said there, and I would add a couple points. Is if you're the kind of person who is already inclined to give money to support the program, like, this is what you want. Like, this was what those foundational donations that led to this, directly or indirectly, this was the point. Why stop now if you have the means
And they
and the
won't.
will?
And they won't.
No, yeah,
They
no,
won't.
I'm not saying they will. I mean, I just think like if he ever were to go, it's not us, right? It's what he sees as a rare opportunity. And for everybody who's looking around at the kind of like power conference jobs that appear that they're going to open this year, and again are not open yet, but places like Providence and Cincinnati and a few others get thrown around, those don't strike me as all being worth it necessarily. And
Well,
far be it from me to say,
there's not. Look, the way I'll put it is there may be a gap now between a SLU and a Creighton
yeah,
as far as the amount of money put in. There may be like in there, with that Big East television deal, whatever, there may be a difference. Right now, there may be a difference. I'm telling you that SLU donors have the pockets to make up that difference if they want to.
that's right. Yeah, they do. And I know it's not just money because the thing we don't have that some of the others do is conference, right? It's fair,
Again,
but
that is fluid. That is fluid. Like, how many times have you heard a conference that you don't pay attention to is merging or like there's stuff that come out of nowhere. Like I I just it doesn't matter anymore. Conference doesn't matter. If you have the amount of the SLU has the resources to be Gonzaga of the Midwest. I'm not saying they will become. I'm not predicting anything. I am saying if the resources go to the right person, that is what they can become. I'm talking about the resources they are putting in now, and that would exponentially go in as you continue to draw more people into this fight as it, fight that is like raising money for this team, including ticket sales. Like SLU can get there without moving conferences.
But you know who brought up that comparison, Gonzaga, Zach, is Josh Schertz in his quotes
Yes,
after
he did.
Dayton. He
Some
brought it
moment.
up, So it's we're not being ridiculous when we say that. So obviously that's one way to get there is to have that elite program from a conference like
And
that.
I think Josh, like I truly do think, like, I see him as the type of guy that, like, I think Torch said it or somebody said it, that like Josh Schertz left like Loyola, or not Loyola,
Indiana State
Lincoln
Lincoln
Memorial,
Memorial. Yeah.
and after a long time, and when he got the right job, Indiana State. I think that was a pragmatic move. I
Mhm.
think he took SLU because he saw potential, and I think he saw long-term potential. That's pragmatic move. Besides the fact that he left Indiana State partially, or probably in large part, due to the fact that he wasn't going to keep that team together. There was no way that team was going to get kept together.
Sure.
So I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to be like, oh shit, I just went to the second week of the NCAA tournament. Now Providence College is calling. All right, yeah. What's $2 million extra a year? Some bigger, and I don't think that's the motivation, right? I
Mhm.
think he's not the kind of guy that's going to make a swing just because somebody shows up with a bag of cash. Like, I genuinely don't think the only reason, like, I think there was a different reason for why he left Indiana State, than the why he decided to pick SLU. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense here?
Yeah. It's yes, of course, Zach. I mean, like, yeah, you are, and obviously we're biased. We want him to stay. We want to find all of the things that are good about our program and all of the flaws at the other ones. The hardest thing about the A10 and the West Coast Conference or whatever it's called, where Gonzaga is like you can't trust all of your peers to keep up, right? Like, so
Right.
so you want them to be as strong as possible to make you as strong as possible. So what Gonzaga has been able to do is to, over years, and they've been doing it for 30 years now, what they've been doing is winning enough that teams from power conferences want to play them all
Yep.
non-conference season long. And we have a long way to go before we get there, but that's what we need in order to be that threat to make the tournament every single year, which is what you want to be, right? And the era has changed in college basketball. It's changed very dramatically. It's changed very fast, and you have to be able to kind of keep up with the landscape as it is. And we're doing everything we can to compete in that. There's a real opportunity here. There really is. And I think the kind of lower level power conference schools are very dangerous places to be because they have very high expectations and they get crowded out by the top programs. And it's a dangerous spot to be in, and it has to be absolutely the right situation if you're going to jump out of SLU, because what you're going to have here is the ability to be that top team or a top 2 team in the A10 every year, if we can keep him and this going here. And that's going to put you in position to make the tournament. And would you rather be that, or would you rather be one of 18 teams in the Big Ten or the SEC or whatever? And the power dynamics in those conferences can change pretty heavily, pretty fast. So anyway, a lot to think about, a lot to develop over the course of the season, Zach. But I think it's well said by you in the beginning, and I'm glad you brought it up.
2 last things. I'll say that the media landscape in St. Louis is by far more favorable than probably 75% of the big schools he could go to. Second thing, enjoy this season. They can't take this season from us. They can't take him from us before the end of this season. Enjoy this ride. It's going to be a lot of fun, and just be living the moment.
Yeah.
Billiken fans, we have a special guest joining the show today. First-time guest who SLU fans are learning and getting to know well by now. Tamar Sher, who serves as the sideline reporter for Billiken home games on the FanDuel's broadcast with Tom Ackerman and Troy. Also a sports anchor and reporter for KMOV Channel 4. She was named 2025 Missouri Sportscaster of the Year. Welcome to the Midtown Madness Podcast, Tamar Sher. We are severely outclassed. We had to get saw Big J on the show.
Oh my goodness, guys. Well, it's an honor. I love this. And like we were just talking about before the pod even started, it's so cool that we get to talk about a Billiken team that is nationally recognized. I'm actually from St. Louis as well. So you got a St. Louis native, graduated from Clayton High School. So I graduated in Chaffetz Arena because we didn't have a big enough space for the graduation. They took it to Chaffetz. So I'm very familiar with the grounds. And it is just so cool to be covering this team right now.
I first off, I got to apologize for photobombing your interview with Jordair at halftime. I'm so sorry. Also the guy with the fro wig who sits a couple rows in front of me. I'll apologize for him as well. But we've got to first congratulate you on the recent national championship. Your Indiana Hoosiers. We're not college football guys here, but how surreal is it to see that program reach the top?
I'm so glad you're asking me this because I actually grew up an Indiana fan, even being from here. Both my parents went to IU. My dad was at the Natty. I was celebrating the Natty win with all of my sorority sisters in Chicago. And it was one of those things that throughout the entire process of, okay, we know this is a really great team. This is a really great coach. We have really great parts. But as an Indiana football fan, you're thinking, okay, when's the next thing going to drop? When's the next shoe going to fall? And it was one of those things the past 2 years. It's just been so fun. Actually, the GW game was the same day as the IU Purdue basketball game. And I looked at Tom Ackerman, who's also a Hoosier, and I'm like, oh my goodness, the Purdue game is on right now. And we are so, first of all, we're so locked in on the Billikens that wasn't even on our brain. But the second is, wow, we were just so engulfed by Indiana football and how exciting this resurgence is that, years ago or literally last year, we're thinking Indiana Purdue basketball is the peak of our experience. And now we're talking about a national championship. So I could go on, but it's just been so much fun to see what that team was able to do and the joy it has given all of Hoosier Nation.
That sounds familiar, Pete.
Yeah.
That storyline sounds familiar.
I know we're not there yet, but I'll still try and tie it to us, to SLU basketball. And the head coach, what do you see in Curt Cignetti in terms of like roster construction and culture building? And do you see those or other comparisons to what Josh Schertz is doing at SLU right now?
My biggest thing is that both of those guys, Curt Cignetti and Josh Schertz, are very much people that care about the human relationship building. And if you start at that level, when you're talking about building a culture, whether it's building and constructing a football roster, a basketball roster, it's the same. It's what is the makeup. And I've been able to catch up a lot with Josh Schertz. I was able to talk to him yesterday with Robbie and get to know their relationship and connection a little bit deeper and just see their inner workings because they're so fun together. And that's the thing. They build on each other's successes and they say, I don't care if I have to make sacrifices and be unselfish because it's for the betterment of the group. We want to win together. And coach has told me on multiple occasions, he was only going to bring guys in that were willing to sacrifice. That's why we are seeing this success. Point blank, they have the depth and these are guys that want to win together. And I see a lot of those similarities with Curt Cignetti, who is bringing in guys that are maybe under recruited, like a Fernando Mendoza who tried to walk on at Miami and they're like, we don't need you. And then he's winning a natty in Miami. This is a guy that when you have players who can connect to the coach, like these players are connecting with Josh Schertz, like players were connecting with Curt Cignetti, you can find great foundation and that leads to ultimate success.
I can't lie. Last night as we're walking, everybody is dispersing from my row, my section. I kind of start saying out loud, Natty, anyone disagree? Anyone? Anybody want to take it? Convince me otherwise. I have been completely swept up in this Billikens. I said after 2 games, after the GW game, I think it was, that if they won that game, I would be all in. I am more than all in at this point. But I'm curious from your point of view, what's it like to see it where you kind of last year you started covering the Bills and then to this year, like, have you seen an increase in the way people like, we're going to spend more time doing stuff on the Billikens? What are you seeing within the media?
Yeah, for me, working both sides of things, working for the Billikens and working for KMOV as well, I think you can see the energy shift. And there was a lot of excitement when Josh Schertz came in. I've been following him since he was a coach at Indiana State. I'm a huge basketball nerd because I did go to Indiana for the basketball. That's why I wanted to be a Hoosier in the first place. Josh Schertz definitely became a household name, him and Robbie Avila, when they were at Indiana State and the run that they went on. Now we're seeing a lot of parallels with what he's doing here at SLU in his second season. Your first season is always going to be that you're trying to figure things out. He didn't have the roster that he has, and he didn't have the depth that he has this year to be able to put together a cohesive unit and a cohesive full length of a season. And that's the difference now, is you do see multiple pieces that are bringing things all together, his vision coming to life. He had a good team last year, but injuries, health, all the things, there just wasn't enough depth there to be able to say, okay, this is a team that can ultimately make a run. Now I believe they have all of the right pieces in place. So definitely, I think when you are 21-1 and off to the best start in program history, and you're literally beating up on teams, even if they didn't beat up against GW, and sure, okay, you can say that Dayton is having a down year, but they completely destroyed Dayton in front of a packed Chaffetz Arena. And I was there because I needed to be in that building to feel it. I don't even know how they communicated with each other on the court because it was that loud. Like, that's how much the Billiken Nation showed up and how excited people got and how loud and into it. And that helped propel them to a 30-point win. But my goodness, that is a great team if you can continue to beat up teams night in, night out.
Was that the loudest you've ever heard that building?
Yes, for me, for sure. Yeah. And the VCU game last year was a fun one to cover. I was there because of that historic rivalry. You got the brawl in there last year.
Yeah.
But In terms of
I don't
noise
care.
level, yeah. No, I love it. No, but it was so loud. It was unreal. And that's what I live for, is those kind of college basketball environments.
How is it, sideline reporting is a tough gig. You have quick hits, a lot of information. You have to interview players and coaches that are in the heat of the moment, and you've got the building. Like, you're also kind of like a trying to do your job in the midst of chaos.
Yeah. And when we first started this season, I didn't have a wireless mic. Now I have a wireless mic and I have an IFB, which kind of like drowns out the noise a little bit, so I can like actually hear what Ackerman and Robertson are saying, and I can understand what the producer's saying in my ear as well. Shout out to Brian. But it's really hard, especially when you're talking about listening and understanding, like when they take timeouts and you're going in the huddle and you're trying to gather information of like, okay, what is Josh seeing here? It's all about relationship building, to be honest, because as I have now covered the team, this is my second year covering the team, I can understand more about like what the trends are, what is coach looking for in these moments, what is he going to do here, and what are the moves he's going to make, and just being able to understand him by learning more just pregame. I go to shoot around. I'm always at shoot around before every game I cover. So if it's a 7:00 game, I'm there at 3:00 to just like be there in the building and continue my prep, because I start way before them. But like that really helps me lock in the moment so that I am aware and know what's going on throughout the game and what the trends are going to be. And I mean, when Robbie Avila hits a game-winning three, and all along I'm like, all right, I'm going to interview Trey Green. He's going off. And then Robbie Avila hits the game winner. Obviously, we got to switch to that and get his reaction post-game. But that was something, as shocked and excited as he was, is same. My adrenaline's pumping, and I'm going in there and getting that interview with him.
What was that energy like at shoot around before Dayton? I'm curious.
Shoot around before Dayton, I mean, it's very consistent and there's a lot of energy, but at the same time, I mean, students were lined up 90 minutes before tip off. And the immediate second that they could come in to pack Chaffetz, they were going to do that. And I think that was really cool. So there is an extra level of like excitement there. And what's cool is that the team fed off that energy. They didn't get intimidated by that energy, and they were able to come out hot in that game. And I think that's a big key there.
That's definitely something that I think Billiken teams have been unfortunately known for, is just the not meeting the moment, to quote one of our earlier season guests on this show.
They did it though.
Yeah.
Right.
This team's different. So you do all of that, so for sideline reporting, right? You're there that many hours before the game. You've already done preparation before that. All that preparation goes into these 30-second segments where you like gotta nail it right before the action starts up again. How different is it when you're covering the game as a more like conventional media member, right? Like this weekend, the Dayton game, when it's a CBS Sports game, so you're not on camera, but you're covering it as press. How different is your preparation for each?
So working for KMOV, I'm the sports anchor and reporter. And as that, it's called MMJ. We're multimedia journalists, where I'm shooting my own stuff, writing, editing, saying it on TV. So typically when I'm not doing the sideline, I am shooting highlights and in the moment on the baseline. And I was fortunate enough, my colleague Jacob took that role, and then I got to experience it from sitting next to Rockio, and we were totally bonding with all the Speedo guys behind us. And I was like, oh, I did not know that was behind me. Did not look around, but it's different. You definitely, though, in both roles, in all three roles, you have to stay so locked into the moment because you don't want to miss anything. Because as journalists and reporters covering a live game, we are there to explain what's happening. Sometimes broadcasts don't catch everything on camera. So like it's my job to listen to what coach is saying, to talk to guys in game, or kind of observe if KT's out, like what's going on with him. Is he getting fluids? Is he get the different injury reports? But it's also about the storytelling aspect. So It was before, it was after Brady Dunlap had an awesome game on the road. His dad was in town with his grandparents, and I was able to chat with them before the game. I mean, like, that's a cool piece because not everyone gets to talk to Brady's dad, Jeff, who is a coach at Georgia State, and get his perspective of his son playing for this team and what he's seen. So I want to bring you into that story. So there's a lot of different ways we can bring the story to the viewer. And it's just different avenues and mediums that I get to work with, I'd say, but you're locked in no matter what.
What is it? What's the sweet spot of the balance between, you're obviously this super passionate sports fan and St. Louis fan and Indiana fan, between that fandom and that journalism, that big J.
And that's the big thing. Actually, when I got hired here to St. Louis, it's been about 3 years since I moved back home to St. Louis to cover the hometown teams. And my boss, who hired me, goes, okay, so you're interviewing Adam Wainwright in the clubhouse. Like, are you going to be a fangirl or are you going to be a journalist? And I literally, without hesitation, said, no, I'm going to be a journalist. This is a human being. Even though I've watched Adam and I was able to see his entire career from a fan perspective, you have to kind of turn your brain. It helps because I've been so passionate about St. Louis teams for so many years that I feel like I have a deeper understanding and knowledge just growing up with it. But I use that to my advantage instead of saying, okay, I'm a fangirl of these teams. No, like I want to be objective and I want to be able to give the actual what's happening here and also understand. But if you have a relationship with these people, if you have a connection piece, that makes the journalism easier. So I could tell, David Freese that, hey, I remember watching your 2011 World Series, and it kind of gives that relationship a little more juice to where then you can have a more honest and open conversation after the fact.
But at the same time, like we look at you, like you're tweeting during the Dayton game or after the Dayton game, right? And it's like, clearly you're excited about this too. And like, you're not like me and Zach who will say anything on
I will say anything. I will say anything.
But you're still clearly excited. Like it's not like you stepped in as like a member of the press who's covering like a completely neutral game, right? So that is kind of still an interesting dynamic there, right?
Yeah. And I think, though, when you're covering St. Louis teams, so in my role as a St. Louis reporter, it is innately exciting when your teams are doing well. I also have to cover when teams don't do well. Like when there was that slide last year with SLU's team where you saw that it wasn't going to be what they had hoped it would be in the first year. That's a challenge because you're dealing with a number of people who are disappointed, and you have to find that balance. I'm trying to stay level, but at the same time, when exciting things are happening and it's bringing good to the city, like you're seeing people want to come out when it's cold and disgusting out, but they want to come out and pack Chaffetz Arena because this is the goodness and the good things that are going on in the city. I think that as my role as someone who's in St. Louis media, I can add a little bit more of that excited flavor in there because I can just feed off of what St. Louis is feeling. So if St. Louis, for example, with the Cardinals, I keep mentioning, but if St. Louis is mad about the Cardinals, St. Louis is mad about what's happening with the Billikens, I can be the conduit to explain, okay, what's really happening here? Or when they're really excited, be like, yeah, this is an exciting time. Like, you should be here and you should be excited because when St. Louis is doing well, we do well, they do well. It's the overarching, you want to see your city thrive.
But at the same time, and Zach, I just have this one follow-up. If there is like, if it's more of like negativity, right? Like I think of our season 2 years ago and it's like, it's off the rails and there's questions about whether the coach is still going to be there. Then you can't be the one who's like, he sucks, fire him, like at the same time, right? So you...
I would never be like that either. Well, I don't know why you're bringing this up.
So yeah, no, Zach's never.
Never.
So then at the same time, right, when things are not going well, then is it more like, okay, I'm going to take a step back and not try and reflect St. Louis's mood back to them, but maybe just be more informative and journalistic here or whatever you want to call it, instead of like trying to match their mood and ride this out with them.
Yeah, I think it's also about asking the right questions to the right people because not everyone has access like I do in these moments. So if there's a downturn of some, like the opposite is happening and we're 1-21 and you're seeing a Billiken team that
Don't,
isn't
don't,
having the
don't,
success.
don't do
I'm
that. Oh,
of course, well, it hasn't happened, right?
no,
Like
correct.
it's not there. Okay.
Right.
So I can say it, but it's not the beginning of the season. But if that happens, then I'm still in it with this team and I'm talking to coach every week and I have a different view of what's happening, like what's going on, what's wrong. And I can talk to ZB and other members and Corey Tate and other members of the staff to ask their honest opinions. And I'm fortunate that Coach Schertz is like an incredible coach where he's very honest and transparent. That even if things weren't in going in his direction, I still believe that he is like the ultimate professional, that he would give me enough of information where I'd be able to convey and relate it back to St. Louis and be like, okay, this is what's going on. I understand that there's that, and that's what being a sports fan is all about. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, there's going to be real lows, but you never know what is happening inside until you have someone like in my position, Rockio, Stu, Tom, that can be there all the time and ask these hard questions. And I'm able to be objective in that way, but I'm not going to be the fire him person or fire
Yeah.
her person because that's not what I can be. And I can't say hire him or her either. So it goes both ways.
Well, unless you're Jeff Goodman, in which case you can say, I can tell you where Josh Schertz will be on my list for head coaching candidates when the fucking Providence job opens up. Sorry, that was a rant.
Don't do that.
We'll go back. You talk about that access, and what's something that you've gotten to know about this team, whether it be the coaching staff or the players that maybe we're not seeing as kind of the fans on the outside?
Well, I've asked this question multiple times throughout the season, both for KMOV and for the sideline gig. And it's, do you guys actually like each other? Like, what's the energy and vibe? And when I spoke, there was a Field of 68 article that came out, and I was asking Coach about it because there is this one dinner after VCU, that road win, and they're on this high, and they're going into the LaSalle game. They're on the road. They're getting dinner together. Josh saying there's like no phones out at the table. They're all talking to each other. They're all like friends. They all like have movie nights together. They all hang out. And that's a big thing because if you have a team where you just are a bunch of individuals and you care about your own individual success over everything, it's just not going to work. It's not going to gel together, especially in this era of college basketball, college sports, where guys are transferring all over the place. And we have 10 new faces that we're seeing on this roster right now. How do you know that all of those guys are going to actually be friends? And from what multiple people have told me, they are. And I feel it when I'm there in the facility outside of game day atmosphere, when I'm there like at a practice or I'm there for media availability. Like I'm feeling that they all, like whenever someone comes in and Robbie's like giving an interview or Dion's giving an interview, they're all like chuckling behind us media people and like having fun. And that's like really cool to see because you can tell, yes, winning helps that for sure. I'm not naive to that, but that's a cool thing to see. Like, all right, like this team figured it out.
Chicken or the egg scenario there, right? Like, is this team happy and therefore they're playing well together? Is this team playing well together and therefore they're really happy? And I think that is like amazing and incredibly sad almost at the same time, because it's like, oh, that's a news story that a team likes to be around each other and they're friends and not just the group of guys brought together to win.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing though, is it goes hand in hand. Like when you have, and this is what Coach says all the time to me, when you have guys that are committed to winning, they're not committed to themselves. Like you don't have someone who's just prioritizing money. Like Robbie had a 5-minute conversation with Coach to say, yeah, I want to stay for another season with you. Like I want to spend my 4 years with you. That's not every player. Like we see a lot of players transfer and we see the movement constantly. But I think it's really cool that you do have the staple there. Like you have the Schertz Avila like connection that kind of is the standard that they're setting, that they're like, we get each other. Like, if you want to come be part of this, great. We've already got this thing figured out. Like, come join and be a collective unit. And that's what they're doing. So at least what I know about tournament teams that are really successful, there's a lot you can, especially from a mid-major school, like you have that and you can go far if you have that connection, and you speak the same language at that point.
So it's going to be airing shortly after we record this week's podcast tonight, but your Sports Sunday interview was a sit down with Robbie Avila and Coach Schertz to discuss the dynamic of their relationship without spoiling too much. And I know we've touched on it a bit already, but what did you learn there when you sat down with those two?
Well, it's great banter always with the two of them. And that's what's cool, is that you can genuinely, and I think what's more important that you take away from this interview is when you like look in their interactions with each other and they're sitting next to each other, like they genuinely love each other and they're genuinely family and they're rooting for each other's successes. And I'd asked Robbie a lot about like, why do you play unselfish and why do you stay? Because you're regarded as one of the top centers in the nation and you're being told that your minutes aren't going to be what they were last year. And what is why stay with Schertz? And then in the first place, why commit to him and commit to ZB, who is a big part of the reason that Robbie got to Indiana State. But it's all of that, we've heard the relationship story between Robbie and Josh a lot, but I think it's really cool to see like how they interact when they're sitting next to each other and they're not in the heat of the moment, hyped up in a game, that they can just sit there and chat about like why they connect so well. And it's all to do with their mentality and how they think about the game and how they go about their daily lives. So I love it. I'm excited.
Oh, sorry. One of my favorite parts of this season has been getting to watch Kellen Thames. I call him, he's more of a skateboarder than a basketball player. He's an athletic artist. I just think he does things. Every game he does something new that I've never seen before. He got his own rebound off a free throw against George Washington. And then
goes between the legs to save the ball.
And then he tried to reverse pump dunk on a rebound.
I know.
A putback. What's it like watching him at courtside?
It's so sick. He's awesome. He's just a guy that like everyone else is better when he's on the floor. He just is able to do the impossible, I feel like. And that's something that was another thing about last season that was disappointing. You couldn't see him at his full potential. Like we saw glimpses of it in the first 4 games, but then he had his health issues that he's now corrected thanks to what SLU was able to do to help him figure that out. And he's just so fun. He's so fun to watch. I'm stoked to see what he continues to do, because he's just a guy who like literally could be on Harlem Globetrotters and like you could see him just like going off and doing a bunch of crazy stunts, because he is so ignitable. He's so electric on the court. But yeah, seeing him courtside and who he is and how he goes about his business, he's a nice guy and just like very much a gamer. He just like knows what he's doing.
Besides the guys you've mentioned so far, does anybody else kind of jump out as being one of your favorite people to cover, either because they're a good quote or they have a good story or anything like that?
Gosh, what's so hard about my reporting these days too, and I keep saying this, is you literally, when you're a sideline reporter, I have to prepare for everyone to go off, because
True.
Literally any night anyone could go off, and I talk about Brady or I talk about Ish, oh my goodness, Ishan Sharma and Trey Green. I mean, you get them both going at the same time and it's so much fun. From Beyond the Arc, like they're just awesome to cover too. But what is really nice about this team, he was having a great game against Dayton, and I could go on and on. I'm sorry if I missed anyone, but that's the thing is, and I was even talking to the sports information director, Brian, and he's like, this is a team that like is really great at media too, because they're all super animated and have a lot great personalities. And you don't get that all the time. You could have like a really good team that doesn't have the best energy or excitement post game, no matter what the decision is, no matter what the score is. But I think that this is a really fun group and how they interact with each other. And they're all just like solid humans. Dion Brown, obviously, like he's a fun person to cover as well. Like they are all just really great personalities.
I don't remember. Oh, I did. That was pre-show. We talked a little bit before we started, as you kind of alluded to, about the like there are these random influencer videos that and it's like it truly is an Instagrammable product, and I think that feeds into a lot of kind of the virality. You know, Josh Schertz pouring drinks. Like everything about this program right now, this basketball team is Instagrammable or TikTokable or Snapchatable. It's crazy.
And that's not a guy who goes out and drinks all the time. So I'm just putting the record straight on that. I was with him.
Bartenders are the ones they can't be drinking.
No, correct. He was the bartender. He was the one doling out the drinks. I correct myself.
All IDs were checked from what I understand.
Of course. But gosh, how fun is that?
It's
like, how fun is it to have a coach that wants to go out and celebrate with the community that came out and bought tickets to support? Because they like, did you see those ticket prices? That was insane.
There was a student ticket market.
Unreal.
They were going. I think we got $50 was the quoted price on student tickets.
That's unreal. And that's the thing. Like when you have a successful product and you have like fun players to watch and you have winning basketball, like then it's fun. And then people are coming out and you are seeing like this, like I said, resurgence of excitement. And Jordair Jet was there, so he's a guy who went on the longest win streak in SLU history. Still to this day, it's the longest. He was there and just telling me, like, wow, this is really exciting. And I know we started it. We were that foundation 2013-14, and then you can just see obviously new coach, new program, new system, but it's the same fan base. So that's just really fun to see. And I think Coach Schertz leaning into it and having fun there makes it fun. Like you should be celebrating when you beat a team by 30 points and it's one of your biggest rivals, like no matter the situation. And you pack Chaffetz. So it was awesome.
I think it's wild to go viral for two different clips in the same night. Like he went belt to ass and then he went to Porsche. Like that is a high that's slash line. That's a perfect shooting night.
I know. I mean, I'm used to the belt to ass moments because of what Indiana was doing on their football team with all their.
There you go.
How much home field apparel do you own?
I do own quite a bit. I pre-ordered a Natty hat because I thought it looked great. But yeah, no, I went to the Big Ten championship, so I have that home field apparel, and yeah, it's awesome. But I was used to that, so I'm like, I've seen that before. And I mean, didn't they do that? So it's just to keep the big thing here. The lesson learned is to keep it like this, keep it going like this, sustain success. Like that's what you want to see. Is we're really excited right now. We're off to a hot start. Like this team has been able to find success, but it's about what they do moving forward, because it's February 1 when we're talking right now, and you're playing for March, and that's what they're playing for. And they want to be able to get into the tournament. They want to put up a resume, and that's what all of these conversations are about, or making a resume for March Madness and for the tournament to be a tournament team. So I think you get excited about this moment, this rivalry win, but then you have to turn the page. And can this team turn the page? They've done it. They've bounced back before, but you need to see that continued throughout the season.
Yeah, and not just the season, but beyond, right? I mean, we
Totally.
want to keep it going as long as possible. And one of the great things about that period, from Jets era, was his class went to 3 straight tournaments. They won a game in 3 straight tournaments. And that's the kind of success we want to start seeing here. And I know we got to let you go, and you still have work to do tonight, and we want to respect that. But are you getting any sense so far about what the mood is about? There's going to be poachers swirling, and maybe, I know we want to extend our coach, and I know you can't give away too much, but are you starting to hear anything on that front yet?
I mean, you're definitely seeing everything on social media, but those are the same people who were questioning if Josh and Robbie liked each other because they were having some chirping banter.
Fair point.
Like social media. I see this a lot because I cover Mizzou football as well with KMOV. So I saw Drinkwitz' name everywhere in the headlines when it came to the coaching carousel. And where is he going to go? Like, if he keeps winning, what's going to happen? That's what college sports is. So I'm choosing not to pay attention to the noise until it's an actuality. And I think Coach, from what I understand, and what he's doing right now, like if he's able to continue what he's doing now here and getting guys in with the staff that he has, like he is finding success. He's found success everywhere he's gone so far. So I don't have any information about whether or not he has had any conversations about extensions or any of that stuff, but just from the pure like enjoyment of that I'm seeing from the staff, like everyone just seems like they're excited and happy to be here. And Dr. Chaffetz is running out on the court and giving Coach
that's
a hug,
when you know
and
it's
Robbie
good.
a hug. I know, like it's good when that happens. And there's a lot of good signs here, but that is just the never-ending conversation in college sports, and it's always going to be there. There's always going to be noise, just like people thinking that these guys don't like each other, which that's crazy. No one commits to a coach for 4 years if you don't like him. But yeah, so that's always going to be the noise. But I'm choosing to think and believe that what they're saying, and they're saying that they're really enjoying their time here in St. Louis, and they're putting a great product on the court. That's for sure.
Yeah, we said it Saturday, but the vibes are off the charts right now.
Vibes are high. When the shots started pouring, I mean, the vibes are high. Man of the people right there.
Yep.
Obviously, I think Billiken fans should enjoy this season. Don't worry about it. And I mean, it's like you said, it's noise, and they can't take away the season from us. That's all you need to worry about. So, right. Tamar, this has been awesome. It's been so much fun. Thank you for bringing some more classing up the joint here. Where can everybody find you? Where can they find you on social media?
Yes, it's easy. My name, Tamar _Sher. So SHER, that kind of share. But you can find me there on Instagram and X and Facebook I'm on, but not really. So more on Instagram and X. I appreciate you guys so much for having me.
No, of course. Take it easy.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Pete, let's take it around the A10, and it's presented by
2 Minute in the Garden, Zach. And this week, I guess what I can just say is it's endorsed by kids everywhere. Apparently, as you got permission to say, the kids in your life now are loving the 2 Minute in the Garden pickles. Like I said before, my daughter loves them. I guess if you get these, you got to hide them from the kids. Get them in the fridge, hide them from the kids, put them in the back, draw your name
outside
on them.
Fridge.
Yeah, put a fake label on them, something like that.
It's like your stash.
Yeah. You got to put it high on a shelf in the back so the kids can't see it. But head on over to 2minutegarden.com. Tell them we sent you. Put Midtown Madness in the notes and use our code MMP for free shipping. That's key. MMP, free shipping. Save $9.99. But even if you don't, even if you forget, that's a pretty good rate for shipping these days. So go to 2minutegarden.com, check it out for yourselves. Get the pickles and hide them from the kids.
Tuesday the 27th, VCU beat Richmond 77-69. Nice. Rhode Island 81, Dayton 76 in OT. Dayton loses their third heading into the Billiken game. And we obviously know how that ended. St. Joe's 85, Loyola 64. Wednesday the 28th, Bonaventure 87, Duquesne 79. There's a score that would make no sense to you if you only saw SLU play those two games back to back a week ago. Fordham 64, LaSalle 58, and then George Mason 60, Davidson 52. Pete, Friday 10 and Saturday.
Yeah,
Friday and Sunday.
Friday 10 was VCU 89, Loyola 75. Loyola actually jumped out to an early lead, led by as much as 15 in the first half, and then it was tied at halftime. VCU eventually took control in the second half to win that one. On Saturday the 31st, Fordham 79, George Washington 65. This actually, Zach, might be the strongest case yet. Unhelpful indeed, but might be the strongest case yet for Rafael Castro to win A10 Player of the Year. With a healthy Castro, GW took SLU to the wire on the road. Without him, they lost handily to Fordham at home. Yeah, that's a valuable player right there. St. Joe's 67, LaSalle 58 in the Battle of Philly. Davidson 79, Richmond 54. That was at Richmond, and it's an eye-opening margin for the team SLU plays on Tuesday, just to underline that. And then George Mason 77, Bonaventure 73. I cannot get over the collapse here by Bonaventure, Zach. They led the entire game until about 30 seconds left. They missed a ton of free throws late. They got at least one brutal call against them in the closing minutes. Just a monumental collapse. And it's the kind of game that it makes sense if someone's point shaving. I can't put out accusations, but I'm like, there's got to be an explanation for how bad that collapse was. Sunday, February 1st, Duquesne 76, Rhode Island 61. Both teams now at 4-5. And on that note, Zach, I think we should just do a quick check-in on the A10 standings now that we're at the conference season midpoint. We haven't done it yet.
Yeah, the Billikens, your St. Louis University Billikens are 9-0 in first place. Mason's 8-1, VCU 7-2, St. Joe's 6-3, Dayton and Davidson sitting at 5th and 6th at 5-4, Duquesne and GW, as well as Rhode Island 4-5, Fordham, LaSalle 3-6, Richmond 3-7, Bonaventure 2-7. Then, man, oh man, the Loyola Ramblers 1-8.
Pretty incredible.
Just as the legend foretold.
That is, it's just unbelievable.
What a brutal weekend for women's basketball.
Yeah, this was a tough one, Zach. And we said going into this week they had to win at GW because they just weren't at George Mason, right? That's a really good George Mason team. But unfortunately, they lost 64-62 at GW on Wednesday. They traded fourth quarter runs. They were tied at 61 with under a minute. Zaya Nugent gets fouled, hits one of two free throws for a 1-point lead. GW got an and one on a really tough call on Nugent at the other end. Blocker charge, could have gone either way. And then hit the free throw for a 2-point lead on SLU's possession.
I thought it was a no call.
Yeah, I honestly, I think that's what I would have called as well. Nugent tried to feed Alyssa Kirkenmeyer at the other end. She's pushed from behind with no call. The ball just lobs, just kind of floats out of bounds. Then they had to foul GW. It looked like they committed 2 or 3 fouls immediately, and the refs just didn't call it. Then SLU seemed to forget and play straight up defense for a couple passes before Jada Dennis was like, guys, we got a foul. Forced the issue. She fouled. But by then, 15 seconds had ticked off. It went from 22 down to 7. And then GW missed both free throws. So now SLU gets the ball, still down 2. Nugent got the rebound, broke down the court. GW had fouls left to give. They fouled her. On the inbounds play, Alyssa Kirkenmeyer, under the basket, comes off a screen and just ran right through a smaller defender. I'm honestly, Zach, not even sure she saw her. They call the foul, and it looks pretty much dead at this point, right? Except Nugent stole the inbounds pass, the final inbounds pass of the game, and winds up with kind of an awkward angle, but a short jump shot. Went off the rim, missed. GW did a good job to close out on her to force that tough angle. It kind of looked like both teams were trying to lose for a little bit because it was just so crazy how many opportunities they gave each other. But SLU, I honestly think, got screwed by the refs here. They lost that 50-50 call that really should have been, as you said, a no call on Nugent's play, especially at that juncture in the game. Didn't get a push call at the other end on Kirkenmeyer. Swallowed the whistle when SLU was fouling to put GW on the line. So there's three big misses by the refs there at the end. I feel really bad for Kirkenmeyer. She finished with 19 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. She was great. That's all you could want out of a freshman. Nugent had 16 and 9. So they were the two best players, but they both had brutal plays and unfortunate calls in the final minute. And Zach, that really sucks because, like I said before, SLU didn't have really much of a chance against an undefeated in A10 play, George Mason, on Saturday the 31st.
No, 66-51, 15-point loss to an undefeated Mason team on the road. Not so bad.
No, not embarrassing. It's not embarrassing.
The largest lead was 18. I think the game tracker, like ESPN feed versus like the ESPN score on my phone, was off because like it would look like we were tied, then I'd go and we'd be losing by 10.
Yeah.
I was confused. So the Billikens finished at 33% shooting. 29.4% from three, played decent defense, just didn't shoot well enough, score enough. Kirkenmeyer had her eighth double-double of the season with 17 points and 12 rebounds. Kira Brown, second with 14 points. Next up, they'll take on Richmond Wednesday the 4th. The gauntlet continues. But at home, Richmond is now 18-4 on the season, 8-1 in conference. They've won 7 straight, led by 6'2" senior forward Maggie Dugan, who is almost certainly going to be the conference player of the year. 22 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, shoots 5, 4, 8. Just unreal. Not many 180 shooters in women's basketball, mostly because the interior shooting is a bit of a crapshoot. Mm-hmm. Richmond's top 3 scorers are all above 41% from 3. They're a great team. Their only 4 losses were Texas and TCU. Fairfield also receiving votes, and then in Rhode Island, class of the A10 as well. Speaking of Rhode Island, Pete.
Yeah, this is a tough week for SLU, coming off of George Mason, who's, so these are easily 3 of the top 4, if not the top 3 teams. But this is the top 2, in my opinion, Richmond and Rhode Island. SLU heads up to Kingston to play by far Tammy, is it Reese or Rice?
Reese.
Yeah, Reese. Okay. I always look at it and anyway, it's not natural for me. Anyway, Sunday the 8th is the game. It's her best team since taking over as coach there. They're currently receiving votes in both polls, but they're outside the top 25. Like Mason, undefeated in conference at 10-0. They're 19-2 overall and have won 13 straight. Their leading scorer is none other, Zach, than former Billiken Brooklyn Gray at 12.7 points per game. So at least SLU knows what she does. They'll be able to scout her. Isn't it crazy that she is the leading scorer on, a top 30 team? Incredible. Anyway, they spread the scoring out a lot more than Richmond, right? It's not like she's some huge star. The top 6 go from 12-7 to 7-5 a game, all separated by about a point. Defend, rebound. They're not a prolific offensive team by any stretch. They shoot under 30% from 3, but they absolutely control games with defense and rebounding. They're also just really disciplined. They win the foul and turnover battles pretty much every game. So it's a different team than Richmond, right? Richmond's more of an offensive threat all around. They're defensive. But for SLU this week, we're just looking for respectable performances. I don't see SLU being able to win either of these games. They just don't have the depth this season, and these teams both have it.
Moving on to track and field. The Billikens were supposed to run last weekend at Mizzou, and it was canceled for weather, so they got into some open events this weekend. Dr. Rick McGuire Invitational at Mizzou. Ronnie Brown recorded the fastest mile by an A10 freshman this season, 4:08:38. Manny Vela won the 5K. Sophia Pellegrin now has top 4 times in both the 3K and 5K in the A10 this season. And Becky Phillips has a top 4 time in the 400. Jason Dennis Memorial at Illinois Wesleyan. SLU is the only D1 program in this meet, so they wound up winning quite a few events. Next up, Missouri Invitational at Mizzou, February 6th. Pete, I mean, what a week. Roll Bills.
Roll Bills, Zach.
Pete, once again, we stare blankly down the barrel of another trap game.
We really do, Zach. And unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, communication gaps, we don't have a special guest to help preview Davidson this week. But we'll just give you a quick rundown of the Wildcats ourselves. It is a trap game, I got to say. They're 13-8 overall, 5-4 in league play. They're coming off a 25-point beatdown of Richmond after pretty respectable showings and losses to VCU and Mason. So they might actually be a little bit stronger than the record indicates, and I think they are. On Tuesday, Belk Arena, after a blowout win over Dayton at home, it's just not a game you can overlook, especially with Avila, feeling a little under the weather. It's an interesting roster they have this season. Almost all sophomores and juniors. The only seniors are a walk-on and a 6'10 forward named Sean Logan, who averages under 4 points a game. The other thing that's different is they're a lot smaller, at least in terms of who produces the most. The top 5 scorers are all 6'4 or under, although I think one might be measured a little short. The next 5 scorers are all 6'6 to 7 feet. 6'4 Latvian sophomore Roberts Blooms maybe is their leading scorer at 11.8 points a game. He's led them in each of the past 2 games, coming off a 23-point performance at Richmond. VCU managed to hold him to 7, but otherwise he's really emerged as a top threat lately. Junior transfer guard Josh Scovins averages 10.4 per game. He might actually be a bit bigger than the 6'4 that Basketball Reference has him at. They've also got a Penn transfer guard, Sam Brown, and Wake Forest transfer guard, Parker Friedrichsen, averaging between 9 and 10 a game. All the production here, scoring, rebounding, assists, really spread out. It's Davidson, right? We know the drill. They play slow, methodical, disciplined basketball. They're looking for clean looks from outside. They're a good perimeter shooting team. They're a lot less effective getting looks inside and making free throws. They're not a good free throw shooting team. Defensively, they want to get in passing lanes and take away the perimeter. They're more vulnerable inside. SLU absolutely needs to feast at the rim on Tuesday and not get too slowed down in transition. Defensively, SLU just needs to do what they do, right? Contest everything, make them take hard shots. This isn't as good a shooting team as we've seen before with Davidson. A good shooting team and capable of going off from outside, but I think you can really shut them down inside and make them, not shoot the shots they want from outside. And that's the way we get there against this team, I think, Zach.
Yeah. Let's do that and get out of there with a win.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about LaSalle Saturday the 7th. It is the Billikens Hall of Fame game. I believe that 2011-2012 team will be in attendance.
Oh, nice.
I believe that's the team that's going in. We didn't cover that, by the way. We kind of missed that. The Gola boys will be in the house, only fans. Be sure to give them a warm St. Louis welcome if you see them. Plans are to meet up with them at some point for some pappies. That's apparently my go-to, entertain the out-of-towners. Yeah, that's where I host all my events. We don't need to spend too much time on LaSalle. We've already seen them once this season. It's only been a few weeks. Since then, they lost at Richmond, beat Bonaventure, and Dayton at home, which was a crazy game. Mm-hmm. Lost at Fordham, lost a home game to St. Joe's. I mean, just a complete mixed bag. Yeah. Seems like they've got at least one guy going off every game lately. Rob Dockery had 26 against the Hawks this weekend. He scores like 9 a game. Jaden Marshall, who sat against SLU, had 3 straight games of 18, 25, and 23. He scored 6 at Fordham and went 0 of 9 against St. Joe's. Jerome Brewer, alternating games of 20-plus points and single digits. Bottom line is inconsistency. That was the issue the first time we ran into them. It remains the issue. They have seemed to settle on a starting lineup of Brewer, Dockery, Harris, and Johnson, with Marshall at the 6th. Man, that was the most baller ass law firm.
Brewer, Dockery, Harris, and Johnson.
Yeah. Babip, Pagoda, Vorp, and X team.
Excellent.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, I think you got it.
Yes. The Billikens are a bad matchup for the Explorers. They're really inefficient shooting. They may drive us crazy at times with offensive rebounding, and they tend to draw more fouls than they commit. But I don't see another path here. It has to be a perfect storm for this LaSalle team. SLU played a terrible second half last time around, so maybe that's the roadmap.
Yeah.